Welcome back to the Cretaceous period, everybody. I am your GM tonight, Eric Campbell, and I am here with the Stream Punks. We're going to get underway as we kick things off, Chapter 4 of Legacy of Silvercreek. Before we get underway tonight, we've got a couple announcements that we want to get out of the way. The first big one that I'm going to toss out to everybody is a surprise stream announce. This Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific time over on twitch.tv/MS Society, I will be running a game to stream to stop MS, along with B, Zelda, Eliza Pearl, Caitlin Bruder, and me. Sam, are you in that with me? I think you are. I do see a Sam. Is it the same Sam? Are we talking about the same Sam?
Or is it hopefully I will have found you a better Sam by Friday.
Yeah, let me know.
If all of those Sams refuse, I'll have to be taking.
Keep me posted. You have fractured the mirror universe so many times, and it's getting very difficult to keep track.
Look, I've still got Gorilla Glue. Surely I can make this work.
You can. I have faith in you. We all have faith in you. That's going to be this Friday at 12 p.m. So definitely stay tuned for that. I think that was the only announcement I had tonight. I didn't have anything else going up. Does anybody else have any announcements that they'd like to talk? Oh my God, Caitlin Bruder, yes. What would you like to say?
Two things. I'm very podcast heavy right now, but Thin Places Radio, our 10 minutes or less tiny audio drama, kind of spooky audio drama is coming back in October. We'll have a date very soon, which is very cool, but season 2 is going to be very, very fun. I highly recommend everybody check it out. It's available on all podcast platforms, major ones. If you've got a little one that I don't know about, it's probably not there, but everywhere else you can probably find it. And secondly, this is the first time I'm officially announcing this, is that we have another episode of Stone Houses, our amateur guide to fiction, fable, and folklore. We have an episode in the can, and I'm hoping to get it out this week. So I'll keep a secret on what the topic is. But if you like casual conversations about folklore, my housemate and I have been doing this show for like 5 years, which is wild, but we do like an episode a year. So that's going to happen. So keep an eye out for it. That's what I got.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else got anything that they want to share with the audience? Yes, Eliza.
As always, as ever, I am writing some interactive visual fiction, visual novels on Storyloom. You can download Storyloom on any device, Android or iPhone. And you can also read Storyloom on a browser. And I have 2 stories, Welcome to the Blood Bar and Anaya the Hunter, Town on Fire. My September chapters of Anaya the Hunter are dropping very soon because we're in September, friends. I need to drop those soon. But you can catch up on the first 4 chapters right now on Storyloom. And thank you so much. After the shout out last week, I got a lot of chapter reads, which is great. Thank you so much. Keep it up. Keep reading them, reread them, and do different choices the next time. It all is very fun and interactive.
All right. Thank you, Eliza. Yes, Noir.
Well, Caitlin made podcast sound so exciting. I wanted to do an announcement upon a podcast too. Episode 2 of our Urban Shadows podcast for One Shot Network is coming out this week. It's part of my audition to be a host of the One Shot Podcast Network. So go ahead, check it out. We've got an outstanding cast, some familiar, I was going to say voices, but it's a podcast. Faces, but it's podcast. So you got familiar voices. And once you check it out, they are doing a survey to see what folks think of all the hosts. So just go to One Shot Network Podcast to fill out that survey and be like, oh my God, Noir, so cool. Or not, whatever.
No, you better. You better. Right now I'm saying, no, I won't say it, so I will. You better go do that.
That's it.
All right. Thank you, Noir. Anybody else have anything they'd like to announce? Anything else? Anybody else? Nobody else? Wow, nobody else, really? Yes, the cute little sea urchin in the front row.
It's because it's spiky. So, if I'm getting this right, podcasts are the thing we're announcing this week. Okay, yeah. I can do that because here's the thing, y'all. Pest Control invited me, after having built out their lovely little world, to play world-building games to help develop their setting further. That means I got 2 episodes to have actions and then let them go for them to experience all the consequences of the choices I helped to engineer. And part 2 of that guest spot is live now. Jake will very kindly drop that link. It's a really fun show. I had a really fun time, and there are simply too many Sams, and somehow none of them will agree to be the Sam, even though they're all infinitely better qualified. So please check that out. Also, you may have noticed at some point in this series that I like science a little. But if you maybe want to find out a little bit of science, please check out May Contain Science. It is my YouTube channel where I push clips from Twitch on my very early morning people show to the whole world anytime you want on youtube.com/@Delevely. The latest episode, coffee makes concrete stronger. You can make stronger concrete by putting coffee into it. Why and how and why?
Is there anything it can't do?
It's very cool.
Find out on May Contain Science.
Sam gave a sneak peek about it, and it like genuinely made me tear up. It was very cool.
That's beautiful.
It's very cool science.
It's very, very, very cool and beautiful, and you should check it out. And who knows, there might be even more. Oh my gosh, I hadn't even thought about there might be more science tonight during our episode of Legacy of Silvercreek. Oh my gosh, there might be science. I'm excited.
Let's go ahead and jump into tonight's chapter of Legacy of Silvercreek. Welcome back, everyone. We begin chapter 4, in the darkest of night. It's past midnight, storm clouds have rolled in and have completely blocked out the stars in the sky. The tree line of the Red Jaw Wilds is a subtle thing. The foliage that grows out from the tree line kind of makes it look like a field of tall greenery that blends into the great pines that grow up along the outskirts of Silvercreek about half a mile away. And bursting through that foliage at full run is Zach, followed by your two companions who lagged behind to ensure that you caught up to them. However, because of some pretty spectacular rolls and some good pulls, when we last left off in chapter 3, there is nothing chasing you. And your run and the high winds, which have caused all kinds of sounds to mask your escape, have ensured that nothing is going to be chasing after you or catching up to you anytime soon. Even from here, though, from about a half a mile out, you can see the sloping grasslands just outside of Silvercreek, and down below, amongst swaying tall grass, far from here, you can see an almost like valley is the settlement of Silvercreek itself. It looks so tiny right now. The lights that you can see inside the walls that are glowing that warm, welcoming yellowish orange, but the dark clouds that have gathered over it At this point, you can see the gray curtain that is obscuring the horizon, even in the darkest of nights here, indicating a serious rainstorm is fast approaching. And you can smell it in the wind, Zach. You've lived out in the wilds long enough to know that this thing is going to be hitting very soon. To say nothing of the fact that the wind has picked up significantly and has started to slowly cause the tops of the big trees that you all just ran from to sway back and forth in preparation for a violent dance that's going to be smashing this place in a little under half an hour. Getting back to Silvercreek, all three of you are going to be on foot. So you're going to have to sort of Aragorn, Gimli, run this all the way as quickly as possible if you're planning on getting back to Silvercreek before the storm does. Otherwise, you're going to have to contend with the environment as it slams into the area. You see, standing next to you, coming out is Tara, who's just catching her breath and looks up at you with this big smile on her face. And she says, I was going to be mad at you, but that was great. I'll be mad at you later.
Talking wastes your air. Is all he says.
What do you do?
We're full steam ahead. Zach is setting the pace, but the moment somebody lags behind, he's gonna tell the next person behind him keep going and try to get the one that's lagging going, like pushing whatever he has to do.
Okay. So you begin the hard run. You make sure to pace yourself. It's not a sprint. Faster than a jog. You guys push yourself down the slope. The super herd that was here for the past day or so is nowhere to be seen. Your guess is the weather has a tendency of driving animals in the opposite direction to escape the oncoming storms. It's not unusual to see like animals seeking shelter amongst the trees when this kind of thing is happening. So wherever they are, they're not out here. That at least is something of a boon. You don't have to contend with a bunch of terrified, angry 7-ton trikes that you to run through. In this case, you have an open field. So I'm going to have you roll. So go ahead and make me I'm going to call this a standard roll, a difficulty of 2, as you are running. This is going to be, if you have anything here that is going to help you with your stamina. It's not a speed roll. This is more on strength. So you're actually calling upon your ability to maintain the run more than you are to try to get there. So if you have anything that will help you in any kind of long distance running or anything like that, Becker and Tara are also keeping up with you. You'll be rolling for yourself. So go ahead and make that check.
Okay, I have the physical skill running. I think that would count for this. That sprint and like long distance.
Amazing. Yes, that absolutely counts. So that'll lower the difficulty from 2 down to 1. You need a 3 or better on this roll.
That is a 16.
Then you are pushing through. Even when your limbs begin to give you that familiar burn, you know that you can endure it. You'll just have a good exhale when you get there. But this is not the first time you've had to run a good mile, half mile when you needed to.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he knows that on his own he could make this run. It's just the concern for the other two. That's the only thing that could mess him up. So, yeah, he's just is constantly looking back because he wants to be aware the second somebody like trips or stops to take a breath to stop to knock that nonsense.
Okay. Real quick, as this run is happening, I have to ask just to keep track, and you get to tell me where, but where is Kimmy right now?
I think Kimmy would be taking to the sky. I with his walk with dinosaurs and just with how familiar he is with Kimmy, I think he has verbal commands, like, you know, calls and whistles like falconeers have. And I think he's giving Kimmy the go home call.
Okay.
and I'm more than happy to roll for that.
Yeah, I would say make the roll. I'm gonna go ahead and start this off with a GM intrusion.
Yes.
If you're gonna make that roll, it's gonna be real minor though. It's gonna be real mild. Would you like to accept it?
Absolutely, I will.
Okay. So gain an XP and send that XP to anybody else you want.
Ooh, I'm going to send it on over to. I'm the worst with names. Give me a sec. I'm gonna send it to Joe.
Okay, Joe, gain an XP. In that case, what I'm doing here is because of the environmental factors in play, and because Kimmy is not known for leaving you, even when you tell Kimmy to leave you. I'm going to raise the difficulty from the standard 3 to a standard 5.
Okay.
So it is going to be a challenging roll. So it's a real minor GM intrusion. Pretty easy as they go.
Let's not say that. If Baldur's Gate taught me anything, it's to respect the challenge. Yep. Here we go. Ooh. I rolled 11.
Okay, so Kimmy, do me a favor and make me a check here. This is going to be an intellect check. If you have anything that enhances perception.
Your companion alerts you to the slightest signs of danger. You gain an asset on initiative. No.
Oh, brilliant. That's definitely going to come into play here.
Okay.
In which case, you don't have to roll anything. That is going to manifest as that ability.
Okay.
In which case, you instruct Kimmy to leave.
Yeah.
Kimmy, you get what Zach is trying to tell you. Every instinct in your body tells you no. Every instinct in your body is screaming right now. It's gone into survival mode because you see something Zach does not see. And I'm going to go ahead and ask Zach to roll initiative. And no. Zach, you get that asset to your initiative roll.
Okay. All right. So what am I adding to this? Am I adding like...
This is a speed check. So anything that is going to help you with speed, you can spend effort on initiative rolls.
I have speed defense. Does that help?
That's when you're attacked.
That's when something, yeah.
Okie dokie.
So we talked about this the other day. So you have an inability in initiative, but one of your other abilities gives you one back, so you're back at flat, and then Kimmy gives you one, so you get to lower by 1 automatically.
Okay.
And then if you have anything to do with initiative, it'll be an initiative skill. Otherwise, you can spend from your speed pool to lower the difficulty.
Because I'm explosive, I get 2 to my speed pool, so I'm just gonna use those 2 to drop this. Okay. All right, here we go. I rolled an 11 again. Also, shout out to Flapjack on the Steampunks Discord, who was like, maybe don't take every GM intrusion. You're right, buddy. You're right.
That is 100% counter Sam philosophy. And I would say do so
as long as I don't take every, because I have the Luma rule.
Yeah.
Therefore, I can accept every other intrusion.
Also, I do want to remind the players real quick, as a reminder, because I highly encourage you all to, within reason, but definitely every single game, you have story points. You have a big pool. You have 10 story points, and we almost never get through them. So don't feel like you gotta hoard them. As
I've been on the Streetpunks Discord a bunch, and I promised S-Shock I would use their story point. So can I do that?
S-Shock?
Yeah, S-Shock 22 on our Discord was like, hey, use mine. I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah, S-Shock, I see you there. Oh, and I love your coffee icon, S-Shock. It's from Space Show that I can't unfortunately invoke here, but I love it. Yes, so this is a story point by S-Shock. That's going to lower the difficulty of this, which I actually haven't given you yet.
Okay.
So the difficulty now is a standard 2.
All right, let's freaking do this.
So what did you
So
roll?
you've
Did you already
lowered
roll?
Oh yeah, I already wrote.
Was-
I
was
rolled
it-
11. I rolled an 11 again.
Okay, yeah. Oh, you know what? Hold on to the story point then, because you succeeded.
Oh, okay.
You won initiative.
Woo!
Yeah, you see it coming, largely thanks to Kimmy, just instinctively, you immediately begin to screech as powerfully as you can over the roaring wind.
She screech and
From-
snaps and kind of like does like a low dive at you, not like all the way to the ground, but she lowers and is snapping and screeching in your direction.
Zeka just says, "What the hell is wrong with her?" And as Zeka shouts that out, Kimmy, from your angle up above, you see 3 lines parting through the grass heading straight towards the group as they're running. You just see them darting towards at quick speeds. They look like they're unaware. Everything in your body screams predate, like a predator is coming straight at them. Kimmy's behavior alerts you, Zach.
Yeah.
And the hair on your neck stands up because as a Karn, you've been in this situation before, and all of a sudden Kimmy is alerting. It's one of those chaotic moments where so much is happening around you and your focus is on getting to Silvercreek, and for a split second it takes you a moment to pull yourself away, but then instinctively you stop. You just come skidding to a stop and whirl into the direction just as the 3 raptors begin to emerge at high speed from the grass. As you whirl on them and meet them face to face, you stop the 3 of them. Looks like they were prepping to pounce. But as you make eye contact, all 3 of them kind of stop and crouch down, their mouths open. They let out this like bleeding sound as you see their tongues kind of lap around inside of their mouths hungrily as they stare at the 3 of you. In this dark of night, all you're doing is catching the glint from their eyes emanating off of the light that you guys are carrying as you're running through the grass. You can see their large forms. They look like they're maybe about 4.5 feet at the shoulder, crouching low. There's 3 of them.
I'm going to tell the others, keep going. And I am keeping my eyes on them. Oh boy, let's see. Do I have anything that Zach knows what to do. Noir is stressing. Let's see.
If you want, you can roll. You can. So this is something I try to remind people in my D&D games too.
Mhm.
You can always say, "I don't know," but my character sure has an 18 intelligence. You can always say, you can always be like, "What would Zach know to do here?" and make a roll for it if you want.
Yes, that's
and
what
get
I
a
would like to
GM
do.
hint, basically.
I would like that, please.
Because Eric is terrible with riddles and puzzle solving, which is
Oh,
why
me too.
I am so inclined to always roll up a character with an 18 intelligence, because I'll be like, "I'm Sam Delev tonight. What's up?"
All right, here.
That wouldn't help with puzzles.
Excuse you, Sam has at least a 20 intelligence.
That's-
Don't even lowball it.
All right. Do I need to wait for difficulty first, or just roll this bad boy?
So I'll set that. I'm gonna. Don't you have an ability walks with dinosaurs or anything
Yes,
like that?
walks with dinosaurs. It's basically, you're not so sure about humans, but you know dinosaurs are like this.
Yeah.
You just get them, and they seem to get you through training, technology,
You spend
understanding.
points, right?
Oh no, this is it.
It's automatic.
Yeah, it just says that I understand them.
Okay.
And
You don't have to spend intellect pool or anything like that. You just get to understand. Okay, so then
Yep.
I'm gonna give it to you.
okay,
No roll necessary.
cool.
So first of all, the Chris Pratt technique will get you killed. It will not work here.
Okay,
Throwing your hands up and saying "Don't attack me" is the best way to ensure a raptor thinks that you're donating your hand to the better cause. In this case, you know, the moment one of you tries to run, that one becomes the pack, the one that got away from the pack, and becomes the target for the rest of the pack. If any of you break away, just like a hatchling that has been left behind by the parents, the pack is going to follow that one.
okay.
So your instinct in telling Tara and Zeker to run immediately, you hesitate for a second as your mind is
Yeah.
racing. You catch yourself before you give the instruction. You still have the initiative. They have not attacked. They are, because you whirled on them, you basically, as you know, this last piece of information I'll give you is when incidents like this happen, predators always rely on surprise. When they lose surprise and it becomes something where the prey is aware of them, now there's risk involved, and predators will usually slam the brakes and reassess before they attack.
All right, I'm pulling out the shield and the solar chainsaw.
Okay.
And I am going to. This is going to be his first turn. He is just. I'm essentially using my explosive again, so I am foregoing an action on this combat for the first turn, and
Okay.
I'm just locking their gaze because the second they come, because I'm foregoing this turn, I get a +5. So he's essentially waiting for them to make a move and hoping that the chainsaw and the shield, these aggressive actions, show that this isn't a pack that's running. This is a pack that's ready to fight.
Indeed. So when you pull out this chainsaw, which is an artifact of a future world that this world may never know, you pull out this 100-plus-year-old piece of tech. As you activate it, it lights up like the sun, and the small crystalline blades that circle around the edges of the saw just start to spin, and light begins to emanate from it as you hold it up. It doesn't hold like a typical chainsaw, like you would hold it with two hands. Instead, it has this strange side grip. It kind of fits down onto your forearm, almost making it like a single blade that spins and glows like the sun. And as you hold it up, the small droplets of rain are hissing and steaming and immediately evaporating the moment they touch the blades. It is enough to definitely get the raptor's attention. The other thing you notice too, though, Zach, is as you hold this thing up, the wind that is starting to pick up is suddenly making it difficult to keep your shield in front of you as it's starting to catch. You kind of fight back against it, and it's not causing any problems now, but you suspect it's going to be a little chaotic in the next half hour. The raptors, however, they back off when they see this solar chainsaw start spinning over your head. They look uncertain. One of them dips their head low, almost submissively, but angrily, as it puts its head below its shoulder blades and kind of makes this sort of whining, chittering sound. It takes a couple of steps back. The other ones, watching the one in the center, take the cue and start to show a little bit of uncertainty as well. You've bought yourself some time. They look like they're not as sure as they were before.
Instead of telling them to run, can I retcon that to just tell them fire or steal, and that's it?
Mm-hmm. Easy enough. In which case, Zeker reaches into his bag and just goes, pulls out a flare and goes, as soon as it sparks up, starts waving it in front of them and goes, screaming and waving at this. That's actually going to be enough to get them to take a good couple of steps back at this point.
Question,
they do not retreat. What's up?
Do companions move in combat independently, or are they an extension of a player?
They are extension of a player. They actually move right after the player takes an action.
Cool.
So Kimmy can actually act now if Kimmy wants to, because there's an initiative roll, so we know who's going to be acting first, but Noir has Zach has basically stopped combat.
Yeah, Kimmy doesn't like that these guys are around at all. Didn't like it when she saw them, and doesn't like that now that they're this close to the people. And so she's just going to kind of like, her low circle is getting lower, and she's like diving at them, not fully attacking, I don't think, because I don't think that that's what's happening right now, but she's like swooping down and screeching kind of at them and like snapping in their direction.
Like an angry mockingbird, just like get away from my nest kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you make a roll for me?
Yes.
I'm going to call this a movement roll, so it's a speed check here.
Cool.
But it's at increased difficulty because the wind is picking up.
Yes, yeah.
So
she got lots of.
Shouldn't be too hard for you. I'm going to set the difficulty of this I'll set it at standard, so I'll set it at 2. 6 or better.
How many skills can be applied to a?
Skills, only a single skill specialization can be applied, but you can apply up to, if you have like assets, you can apply skills, and any other, you can spend effort, and then you can use an asset.
I don't think I have effort for the companions. Don't have, do they?
No,
I don't believe so. No.
No. So yeah, no. Okay. Kimmy has flying, gliding, and diving are all skills that she has.
Okay, then yes, you can lower the difficulty automatically by 1.
Okay.
So
cool.
Standard will drop to simple at 3.
Believe I'll just have to roll on that. 11. Wow.
11.
We're matching.
What is with 11s today?
We're on the wavelength.
The swooping, screeching, and snapping pterosaur, keeping in mind that Kimmy is not small, it seems that this is more trouble than it's worth. And the fervor of wanting to kill and get a free meal, not quite as tempting as it used to be. You don't see them fleeing in terror, though. Instead, they take a couple of steps back and kind of linger a bit. You've seen this tactic before. Pack animals use it all the time, where they kind of disengage, but they're not actually leaving. They kind of try to feign disinterest and move away, but they don't actually. They keep watching. It's one of those situations, Zach, where you know if you turn and start running, they're going to start chasing. But at the moment, they look like they're not pursuing. They kind of, you see them like turn their bodies as they slowly move towards the taller grass, but they keep angling back. A few of them kind of hissing angrily at this pterosaur that swoops down on them. One of them, though, looks kind of paranoid of the pterosaur and is ducking low and ducks low again and starts to move away from the rest of the pack to try to get away from the pterosaur. You've got yourself an opening here, but if you start running, it's going to excite them, which is going to cut into your time at getting back to Silvercreek. Or you can run and take your chances.
It's because he's got a crew with him. He's not going to. I'm gonna take a shot at one of them. It's the only thing that I could think.
Okay. Go ahead and take a shot at one of them. What are you using?
I'm using the chainsaw of the solar chainsaw.
So you're going to charge one of them then. You're going into melee.
Yeah. I'm hoping
okay.
if I make a display of this, it's essentially showing dominance is what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, your knowledge in dinosaurs tells you that since they're already kind of wavering, this will definitely do the trick if you land a hit.
And I'm looking to swing at the one that looks to be the pack leader.
Yeah, the one that's not quite ready to give up on you just yet. One that's lingering a little bit. All right, go ahead and make your attack. The difficulty of this, because of their speed and because of their agility, the difficulty starts at 5. So it's a 15 or better to hit this thing before you spend any efforts. And if you have any skills or anything that will knock that down.
Practice with all weapons.
Yeah, that automatically will give you that should automatically lower it by 1.
Okay.
So that'll drop you down to 4. So you need 12 or better. Unless you want to spend effort or story
use
point.
that story point.
Yeah, you can use that story point.
I'm going to use that story point now.
Okay, so that'll drop it down to 3. So now you need a 9 or better.
Here we go.
All right.
How's a 19?
A 19 is a minor effect.
Oh.
So here's what you can do. You can either damage this thing. It gives you +3 damage if you hit with a 19. Or you can use a minor effect and not damage it at all. And you could do something like distract, knock back, move, strike, specific part of the body. In this case, I would let you succeed on a terrify check here. Basically, you would scare this thing off.
I'm going to terrify it.
Okay. The spinning blades that emit sunlight, or the equivalent thereof, and the sound it makes is enough to startle these nocturnal hunters. And as you rush towards them, spinning over their head, the lead one immediately, there's a dramatic shift in its countenance. As you charge forward, it's kind of lingering, but the moment you move towards it and you can see the glowing blade reflected in its reptilian eye, it ducks low and darts away at full speed, which, by the way, never ceases to impress you. As it bursts of speed at about 25 to 30 miles an hour, just bolts. And you see the other two follow after it quickly. They're probably, your instinct and your experience with dinosaurs, Zach, tells you they're still going to linger, but they're very unlikely to follow.
Just goes to the others, run. It bolts.
Nicely handled on that. You managed to escape having to fight them as you bolt. Well played on that thing. That story point gave you a minor effect, which ended the encounter immediately. So nicely done. You bolt down the hill. They do watch you with interest. You can see dark shapes moving in the grass, but they do not pursue.
Whew.
One of them just kind of watches, stays where it all. As y'all are rushing, you can still hear its like sounds of protest, as this strange like bleeding sound that only like avians can make. This, just like echoing out in the background. A combination of both beautiful and terrifying. You can
Kimmy
recognize it as
shrieks out of punctuation.
the screeching of the pterosaur as it kind of wobbles in the wind overhead. And you guys continue on your dash back down to Silvercreek. Inside the walls of Silvercreek, the chaos that we left behind last week has not necessarily improved. Because where we pick up this week with all of you inside the walls of Silvercreek is you see, last we left off, you all were trying to piece together, you had made the connection that this artifact, this thing that you have, is reacting to Dahlia. Where we are picking
And I am
up
outside.
now. What's that?
And I am outside.
And you're outside, yeah.
And I have whoop out in that direction. to
Yeah, you've
avoid
moved out in that
accidental-
direction. You guys have moved away from Dahlia, who's inside right now, just recovering and just catching her breath. The two of you are outside, and a few thick rain droplets have spattered against your cheeks as you step outside. Very dark overhead, and the wind is slowly starting to pick up. You can see a couple of people in the perimeter, up on the outsides of the walls of Silvercreek, are starting to have quick discussions, and you can see a couple of people running around. There's some last minute preparation as like things are being tied down.
Bag. And I go to it and don't even quite get the bag, but I do try to scoop the Vern.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think Joe just kind of like swoops like the rest of the bag off to the side, like, and kind of like ducks under your arm once you have the tiny creature, and is just like, to the best of my knowledge, I think potentially, perchance, that we're experiencing a little bit of like the Larson effect with sound, where the input goes back into the output goes back into the input, then it becomes the output again, and it goes back in, and this cycling of the sound, and
Microphone thing.
screech. Yeah, the microphone thing. I think that's what's happening, but somehow with time, maybe. Best guess, best assessment of the current situation. So I don't know where that leaves us.
The assertion that Dahlia is a time microphone.
Or that this is. And she kind of like rattles the bag.
I'm going to say at about this point, stepping out of one of the buildings, Clover, you spot these two in the middle of the main street, main pathway that leads down the center vein, as it were, that leads through the center of Silvercreek. They look like they are both very nervous, maybe a little excitable. You're not entirely sure what's going on, but in the ambient light of the glowing stormlight lamps, you can tell that something is going on over there.
I step out and kind of stretch, rub my eyes, and then see, what's going on, and make my way over to them. Hey, everything okay?
Everything's, storm.
And
Yeah.
rain, even? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rain and storm.
Mhm.
Rainstorm, I call it sometimes.
gonna
Possibly
be,
Words
worse.
at myself.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a pretty big one. What's in the bag?
Oh, that's
Stuff.
It's just my bag. Yeah, no.
Maybe
Joe
a
was
little-
Joe's
also rain.
just, holding the bag.
Mm-hmm. And Joe will like close it and then just like put it on. I get like
You have to make sure you have the sunscreen in there for the
Rain?
rain burn.
for the when the rain goes away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe just looks at Ozzy like like the
And
the-
Ozzy
for how-
doesn't look.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Joe's-
I'm gonna keep looking, keep selling, keep selling, keep selling, keep selling.
A
Joe's
bit
help I'm
glib.
about to start answering questions look like
Okay. So, have you all decided where you're hunkering down for the storm?
we haven't really been given instructions, actually. I think we were going to stay with Dahlia, but she's indisposed.
Bruno's very hostile.
That
Oh.
yeah, that's true. Actually, it's in his own special way.
Oh. Well, someone nice gave me a change of clothes and let me change in their place. Maybe we can ask if we can bunk with them.
Yeah, maybe ask someone where we're even. Maybe people don't stay in there. Oh, maybe there's another
Yeah,
spot. I don't. Yeah,
that's
maybe
true.
someone
Yeah,
with
maybe.
real knowledge should tell us. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a shelter somewhere. Look around. Yeah, are there other people running around right now?
There's only one other person that's out right now. You see a man who looks like he's maybe approaching his 50s, has a vest on, long sleeve shirt. You can tell from the wear that it looks like it has been worn quite often and for a long time, but it also looks like it's made out of a type of weave, like something higher quality than usual. It has these baggy, almost cargo-like pants on, and thick boots. Has a couple of pieces of tech on him that are glowing in the middle of the night. Asian gentleman who is currently holding up what looks like a small vial and is measuring something on this device as the rain is starting to pick up a little bit. He's standing out in front of a very large domicile that looks like it is made to accommodate. Seems like it has an outdoor back area too. It seems like it accommodates perhaps wildlife or maybe livestock. He doesn't seem to be. He seems to be completely oblivious to the rest of you. He's about maybe 50 feet away, just completely oblivious as he's measuring something.
I'm gonna go ask him if he knows where we should stay for the storm. And
That's Michael Yen. That's Michael Yen.
Oh.
No, I said, remember? That's the one you're gonna like.
Oh yeah, okay. I walk over to him. Hi, are you Michael Yen?
Yes. Sorry, I don't know you. That's
Oh.
unusual. I know everybody. Are you new to Silvercreek? Oh,
am.
did you arrive with the other two that arrived earlier?
I did, yeah.
Sorry, my deductive reasoning is a little slow right now. I'm so caught up in this. It's lovely to meet you. He extends his hand. I'm Michael Yen.
Nice to meet you. I'm Clover.
Clover, nice to meet you. I'm sorry, did you need something?
Yes. We just got here today. We don't have a place to stay, and also
This is a bad night to not have a place to stay.
Yeah.
Please, would you like to step inside?
Oh, sure. I mean, sure.
Do you have any animals that need looking after?
Yes. We all have
the back area is usually where I help with the live births. If you want to bring them back there, I don't think I can accommodate, unfortunately, a trike. So I understand that one came with you, and unfortunately, I just don't have the space.
I think the trike actually lives here already, so maybe he already has
the
a
trike
place.
we rode in on. The Atticus.
Atticus, yeah.
Yeah. Have you come over? I kind of waved them over.
Yeah. We'll kind of follow up, but no, yeah, Atticus is the one that the three of us like rode in on, so it does not live
Yeah.
there.
Wait, I thought Atticus was Dahlia's. Oh no, duh! I'm confused.
Dahlia plays Atticus.
Yeah, Dahlia plays
Yeah,
Atticus.
that's right.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah. You know what? I'm surprised that we made it to chapter 4 before we got
Right?
getting confused over who is who.
I retract that statement then.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Where do people tend to stay during a storm, like a really bad storm? Is there a shelter?
Yeah, the shelters that we get inside, that we've made our homes, are actually quite resilient against storms.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we just need to find a home.
And that's this. And he kind of ushers to the side doors, and you see this metal door go slide open.
Cool. Walk in.
You step into a very well kept, very well organized, clean interior. It has almost like this. It has like this smooth wooden floor that stretches out into a living room area. You see there's a couple of computer terminals here located all over the place, but you see everything. There's a kitchen here. You see there is a large bedroom off to the side. You see some data readouts. A couple of SATI pieces of equipment are also located over on one of the kitchen counters, but you see what looks like he's built himself a refrigerator. You can actually see that it has a food storage units in the back. It looks surprisingly like well stocked, well monitored, well kept. Definitely unusual in this time period, but it's cozy to say the least. Very comfortable. well lit. You step inside. Stepping into the doorway, and Joe extends his hand and offers. He says, "Please, please, make yourself at home. If your companions, if you would like, I can take them around to the back. There's a nice little sheltered area where they can sort of nest up for the night."
Oh, that would
Yeah,
be great.
previously mentioned Triceratops is my companion. Do you have is any knowledge of a place that he would be okay?
I'm sorry, Caitlin, you're cutting out. I can't hear you.
Oh no, I need to eat my microphone. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Aforementioned Triceratops is my companion. Unfortunately, do you know of a location where he could bunk up for the night?
Unfortunately, I don't. Trikes are. Yours is the first one that I can recall seeing in Silvercreek in some time. Just don't have the space for it inside the city. The village walls. My advice would be to let Atticus is his name.
Yes.
My best advice would be to let Atticus out.
Okay.
And I only say that because a panicked trike can absolutely wreak untold damage on Silvercreek.
Yeah, he has temper tantrums. That I'll go do that. I will make
I'll help.
note of. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
If you'd all like to sort of make yourself comfortable, and I'll be right back. And feel free to fiddle with the gadgets. I've got all sorts of things over here if you want to check them out. Excuse me.
Just in mind of gadgets, Joe is going to slide off backpack and pass it over to Ozzy
Okay.
before we go.
Okay.
Clover notices but doesn't say anything.
He steps out the door, and you see by the time he gets out, the rain has begun to fall. It is at an angle already. You can already hear the wind picking up.
Will we? Oh yeah, will we also need to like get our companions, the non-trike companions and non-Vern companions, into the back shelter?
If you want to play that out, you can. I'm assuming that he is sort of the herder, and he is going to be able to get them in there to sort of like stow them into shelter.
Got it. Yeah, just wanted to establish that it's happening.
Yeah.
I think it's
Cool.
probably Sweets, and then Kimmy
Mhm.
will
Sweets, Kimmy.
arrive after circumstances, and Bruno is a scaredy hell chicken bunking down.
Bruno and Kimmy are locals too, so they
Azalea.
probably have setups.
Yeah, they
already.
have
Yeah.
whatever they're gonna
Sweets
do.
will need some guidance.
Yeah, Sweets,
in this
I think
case,
yeah.
Atticus, you can tell even old Atticus is a little agitated right now. And as you're leading him towards the gates, I'm going to need you to make a roll.
Yes.
And because of the situation, I'm going to raise the difficulty by 1. It's typically a difficulty 3 to get him to behave. It is now a difficulty 4, so you need a 12 or better.
Excellent.
And that is where I'm going to start telling you all the situation, because we are in stage 1 of the storm. So I've created a rule for this. Stage 1 of the storm is going to function like the horror rules function, meaning that through every stage, the range for a GM intrusion increases. So right now, typically you need to roll a natural 1 for a GM intrusion to come into play, but right now it is increased by +2. So you need to roll a 1 or 2 or 3 and a GM intrusion is going to happen. And to give you guys an idea of what's to come, as the storm increases in intensity by the stages, so too will that intrusion range.
I'm in
Noted.
danger.
Yeah, as this is a
well-
major system that is blowing through Silvercreek right now. So, escorting Atticus to the gates, you can see up on top of the walls, Piper can see what's coming, and she nods and immediately shouts something. You can kind of hear her voice over the wind, but you see the gates going, starting to slowly creak open. Make that check.
Okay, so I'm going to spend some intellect to drop it back down to 3.
Okay.
And I'm also going to ask for a story point because Atticus is an old man, and I want to ensure that he is as least stressed as possible because he's very big. So I'm going to drop back down.
Duran 452, thank you.
Thank
that story
you.
point.
Atticus, thanks you. All right, let's see. What do we got here? That's an 18!
Hey.
Atticus kind of calms down when he sees you are also nearby. He seems to be able to anticipate what Michael Yen is telling him. Yen is kind of, you can see Yen is a natural. And actually, I should have included him as an asset here because he's technically helping you. So you lead a very nervous Atticus to the front gates. But as you lead him out through the front gates, you kind of give him the pat, let him know to go.
I think she has her system with him is like she'll put kind of like when guiding, like she has her hand kind of behind his frill, like on one side of it, and then she kind of it's like horse reins, but in a very gentle way. Like she can't actually move him, but she can give inclinations with like how she's tugging. And so I think like a double tap behind the frill where her hand has been is the you can go. And so she just gives a little, okay, buddy. We'll see you soon, hopefully.
You've seen a rhinoceros trot.
Yeah.
It's that incredible, their girth, their incredible girth that they have on the like armored, thick-skinned body as they trot. It's very similar with Atticus, as even at his age, this 13-ton trike, however heavy Atticus is,
13
just kind of you can feel like the vibration thudding in the earth as this dinosaur just trots and sort of gallops at its slowest pace. You're not sure where he's headed, but he seems to have somewhere in mind, and you see him vanishing into the darkness. And there is immediately, as this happens, Joe, there is immediately a surge of anxiety. This is the first time you've been without Atticus since fleeing Kaleno City, and he's running off into a storm.
Known where he is too. Like he's been a part of her life her whole life, and so even if she wasn't in the same place as him, this is I think she turns to Michael and says, "There's places for him to effectively hide, right?"
Yen looks at you and says, "Don't worry, he has a better chance out there than he does inside the walls. Trust me, they kind of just know what to do. He'll look after himself."
Smart. Okay.
You don't make it to his age without knowing a thing or two, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's spent a lot of it in or near Kaleno, so this is...
You hear Piper above suddenly cutting you off as she shouts down, "If you two are done fucking around, I need to close the gate."
That was vulgar.
Yen goes, that's Piper, sorry.
Effective. And we'll kind of start headed back in.
You guys walk in, and Yen seems completely oblivious to the storm as he turns to you and goes, "So tell me about Atticus's cybernetic foot. Was that installed in Kaleno? And how is that? What's the maintenance of that been like? Has it been a problem for him, or is he adapted to it pretty well?"
So far, no. Nothing. People always ask what happened to him, but nothing happened to him. He was born without one of his. It was just a never thing. And then as he got older, it got harder for him to move on just 3. And so we installed it like 10-ish years ago. And I do upkeep. Personally, it's my area of study is cybernetics and biorobotics. So
he stops
I'm able
you in
to...
your tracks and goes, "Sorry, just give me a minute to collect." That makes me very happy, and I'm collecting myself. I too know a thing or two about cybernetics. I have a hadrosaur with a cybernetic eye that I personally implanted after he lost it in an attack. I would love to have you look at it.
I would love to look at it.
Every 2 months or so, it becomes infected. I have to clean it. She has to be sedated, and then she's reintroduced to the herd. And then in about 2 months again, she starts tearing up, and eye gunk collects, and I have to go in there again. And it's
very, very common.
She hates it.
Yeah, one of the things we've had to deal with is figuring out how to let them coexist in an easy way, and that's a very delicate area of the. We should keep moving, and she starts walking backwards. Very delicate area of the body. So I mean, I can see. I don't have my entire lab with me, but I can see what I can do with what I have. We can see if we can implement some of the things that I've learned in the past and try to help out.
That would be lovely. There's a couple of people in Silvercreek that I'm teaching a little bit about cybernetics, but it's very early days. The only other person here that knows a thing about cybernetics is Melina, and it's not, frankly, not as much as me. It's not her area of expertise. So I'm very excited to meet somebody else who knows a thing or two. This is very exciting.
We can definitely check. You should check Clover, who you met first as we all stepped or just now also installed cybernetics onto Sweets, her pterosaur.
I didn't think I'd be. I'm excited to be shut in the storm for the next few hours with y'all. I'm looking forward to conversation. This is going to be very cozy and exciting.
So much to talk about.
Yeah.
And Joe, I think, is like lit up a little bit for the first time since leaving Kaleno, and not like a huge overjoy, but just like a breathe easier. Like, okay, I have cool. I have a spot here. Like for now,
Right.
I have this makes sense to me.
You definitely get a sense from Yen that he's either lived some time in Kaleno, from Kaleno. He definitely comes off to you like his accent
City
and
kid.
everything would suggest he's managed to maintain. You've heard it. You don't know the country itself. You've only heard about it. He's managed to maintain a little bit of a Chinese accent. You can hear it a little bit. It is typical of somebody from Kaleno City to maintain their accents and their native language. Not so much outside of Kaleno. You can kind of get the feeling like, oh, we're going to connect. Like you already
Yep.
know. While this is happening, I would like to know, and I'm gonna ask Sam this because I know Sam loves it when I throw them juicy stuff like this. But I'm curious, since Clover and you are left alone for a minute, does Clover perceive any anxieties or anything on Ozzy in this time? Like, what is Ozzy doing now that you're kind of alone with Clover? The door closes. It's only been about 10 minutes since the events happened.
Prior question that Clover's player is also qualified to address, taking stock of Vern. How is Vern doing during the storm? We know Bruno isn't a storm Bruno. Is Vern a storm Vern, or is it like, one of my dogs just couldn't care less if there were a storm, the other one is shaking like a little shaky dog?
Yeah. What's funny is I think being a tiny thing, Vern, as long as Vern isn't caught up in like an over flooding river or something like that, Vern's gonna probably be okay and be able to like climb a tree for safety. So Vern has natural safety measures for storms. I don't think Vern is going to be super freaked out about the storm. I think Vern will be cuddly with Ozzy because of what just happened before, and just in a more comforting, like, is my human okay? Just so that's what Vern is up to right now. Just kind of providing some support, checking in on their human.
Real quick question: is this facility big enough for Sweets to be in, or would Sweets need to wait outside?
Sweets can probably fill up the rest of the space outside.
Okay.
In the shelter that's built outside, but Sweets is going to probably fill up all the remaining space.
Y'all are hearing about it. There is just squawking, sassy squawks, as I like. The indignity of this.
Yeah.
Isn't that just a perfect counterpart? So like,
Sweets is pretty big, but Kimmy, if I remember correctly, Kimmy is the largest of the two. Kimmy is considerably larger. It towers when Kimmy stands upright. Kimmy towers over the rest of you. So
Kimmy's 8 feet tall, I believe.
Yeah.
Sweets is about 5-ish, 5.5 maybe.
Is that right? I think with Kimmy's crest. No. Yeah, Kimmy towers over all of you.
Kimmy's about 8 feet tall.
Kimmy literally
Atticus
can look
is
down
about
on all of you. Yeah.
9. Kimmy and Atticus are comparable, but otherwise they're big.
Right.
And Kimmy's wingspan is double
25.
that of like Sweets. Sweets is like action figure.
Yeah. Smaller pterosaur versus one that's coming into adulthood. Okay.
So all of that is pretext to say that the physical blocking movement of Ozzy at this moment is holding Vern and introducing Vern to like sniffing things in Michael Yen's place, because either you can be all over what you shouldn't be at some point, or you can just like be introduced to it, have some smells about it, and then I will not wake up in the middle of the night with something knocked over. And curiosity. So
make a
just
roll.
holding kind of like baby.
Make
And
a
like,
roll.
here's a gadget. It's
Who-
made of
who-
gadget.
So, real quick question then,
Mhm.
because I want to know if Vern is, and you tell me, is Vern scared of thunder, rolling thunder?
Hmm.
What do you think?
I mean, could be. Yeah, I think if it gets close enough, yeah,
Okay.
Vern would start to get a little freaked out.
All right. In which case, I'm gonna have you make a check here, but I'm not
Okay.
gonna increase the difficulty because you are indoors. So go ahead and make the check. It's difficulty 3, so you need a 9 or better.
Okay.
All right.
This is for
For
Ozzy.
Vern?
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah.
I have to
Ozzy.
make
for
a
Ozzy.
I
Ozzy's
have to
rolling
make
the
a Vern
handling check,
check.
basically.
Okay.
This is basically to find out if Ozzy is able to calm Vern down, or is Vern going to follow their instincts and burrow into something.
Ozzy. That would be an 8 on a 9 check.
like a cat or any animal that spots a sofa with openings between the cushions. Vern, there's only one way to alleviate this fear.
Cowbell?
And as Ozzy is trying to calm you down, it's not doing it. You need to hide. Your instinct is immediately telling you.
Armpit. That's the first place I'd go.
Okay, that's both tickly and scratchy. I don't enjoy this. So in terms of what Clover will see, it is an extremely awkward proto-weasel dance.
Okay,
but
write that
there's
one
no
down.
mechanism.
Proto-weasel's definitely a band name.
Proto-weasel dance, too. Proto-weasel dance. Yeah.
It's the band name title of the track sort of thing from the first album. But I wish there were a self-intrusion mechanic in here because let's say I'm proto-weasel dancing so hard my bag slides off my shoulder onto the ground while I'm otherwise focused. That's what Clover sees.
Brilliant.
Interesting. Okay. Same bag that was being cradled like a baby. Okay, got it.
Cradled like a baby, and that you saw Ozzy be somewhat protective of, and very secretive of our whole trip.
Yes. Okay. Noted.
Very surreptitiously passed from Joe back.
Just maple surreptitious.
I just want to pause real quick because you slipped just now, Sam, without even realizing it. But in this moment of mischievous, little mammal that's being incredibly mischievous and spooked right now, you actually called Vern clever.
Clever or Clover?
You called Vern clever just now.
What Clover sees is maybe I said clever instead of
no. It's just funny.
Or my vowel.
Because or you might have said clover, but it sounded like clever for me. Maybe I just projected, but I was like, oh, clever. We all remember clever.
I do love a
little
clever
mischievous creature. Okay.
Yes.
So,
but would demand to puppet my skin rather than try to climb into it.
How would you describe the device as it spills out onto the floor?
Oh, are we spilling it? Okay. I was gonna give quote that. Okay.
No, it pops out of the bag.
Now, is this a GM intrusion?
It is now. Do you want to take
that?
Yeah.
I will take that. Yes, and I will pass on to Clover for accepting temptation.
Gain that XP. Now the intrusion aspect does have to cause a setback. Instead of just inciting a scene here between the two of you, there is going to be a setback here. So I'm going to inform you both of that. That is the price of getting the XP. Right. You guys are going to get that. However, at the moment, all you see is this device slide onto the floor, and I'd like Ozzy to tell me what it looks like. How do you imagine it?
There is Sati tech in the room right now that Clover could see. It doesn't quite look like that. It looks like the prototype version of that. There are a couple of wires poking out that are just kind of roughly soldered. There is actually a bit of mud on it now. I think not in a key location, but on a chassis somewhere. And there is an LED pad looking thing that again is mostly bare wires, not a lot of hasn't hit the design range, and that has numbers that tick according to no particular visible structure, but change once per second.
Interesting.
I kind of picture it the size of a sort of like a large pretzel. Has these sort of like weird tubular objects moving around the edges of it that kind of have almost a very subtle pulsing light. It doesn't necessarily shine, but is noticeable to add to. You see that laying on the floor.
Okay. Clover looks at it, notices that Ozzy is very distracted, looks back at the device, and without moving towards it, will try to get a good look at it and use her. I think I have, let's see what I have. I have something for this. Oh, yeah.
You're a tech. This is what you do.
Yeah. Okay. I have machine interface. For 1 minute, I gain an asset on tasks to discern the level, function, and activation of technological devices that you touch. So I have
amazing. It's Walk with Dinosaurs, but for technology. So you have to touch it, though. You have to go over there and grab it.
Okay. I'm gonna swoop in, gently grab it and the bag, and say, "You drop this," and just put it in. So I've touched it, but I don't want to violate any protectiveness, but I also want to touch it.
Okay.
You don't want to reveal that you are violating any protectiveness.
Sure.
Let's call that spade a spade.
Sure. I put it back in the bag, though.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you have to spend anything for that?
Yes. 2 intellect points.
Okay.
And where's my... Oh, yeah. So do you want me to read that again?
You're going to get the level here. I need Sam to roll a d6, please.
Okay. There it is. Okay.
1.
Rolled a 1. Okay. It is a level 7 artifact. So whatever it is powerful. As you set it down, the numbers clicking across it, you notice on the inside that sort of pulsating light fixtures are on the side, the tubular like things that are sort of twisting around and bending back into it. The way it's built almost make it look like those are handles, but they probably don't function like handles. They just look like good places to hold. You set it down and stare at it a little bit. About the time that Ozzy has noticed what you've said and set down, you're not entirely sure what the hell that thing does, except for, okay, actually, let me revise. Specifically, what does that ability tell you? Because it does tell you how it operates, correct?
Yes, it says level, function, and activation. So what it does and how it turns on.
How it activates?
Yeah.
Your instinct tells you as you set this thing down that it is not running on its internal power. In other words, this looks like something that's broken that shouldn't be on right now. It looks like it's operating, like it's receiving power from somewhere else. Which you've seen before. You've seen remote power recharging. That kind of thing does exist. But it definitely gives you the sense that this is tech that's not complete. Or maybe it's broken, or maybe it's faulty, but yet here it is, activated. The last piece of information you get is whatever it does. Perhaps the reason you don't know is because it's not complete, or it's faulty, or it's broken. But you do know that whatever it is related somehow to temporal manipulation, which is a Big deal. One of the most advanced sciences that exist is heavily guarded by Sati and only produced or used by Sati. They are exceedingly rare. You've only heard of them. They are usually prime targets for butterflies, because remember, the butterflies want all attempts, chances of manipulating time in any way destroyed. And there is a fleeting thought that goes through your head for a split second, Dahlia. Or rather, Clover, for a split second, there is a part of you that thinks if you destroy this, you could get back into the butterflies. For a split second, that thought occurs to you. Whether it tempts you or not is completely up to you, but this would be a prime target.
Yeah, I'm standing back up. All this is going through my mind, but I'm looking at Ozzy. What is Ozzy doing?
I'm putting this back up on my bag, and you can look at both of our faces. I like it when you look up to me, that at that exact point Vern has poked out of the shirt. So you get two sets of faces looking back at you in varying states of meteorological slash temporal alarm. Yeah, no, you know, weasel arm. It's an affliction. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
I look down at that it's open, and I look up at you.
I think Clover doesn't have a good poker face. So Clover's, has this expression, eyes a little bit narrowed, but just like one eyebrow cocked, curious, a little bit kind of like trepidatious, but wanting to ask the question, what is that? Really wanting to ask it, but not. Just kind of also probably looking at the bag and then back at you.
Michael Yen has a lot of cool Sati tech around here.
Yes. I cannot wait. And he said that we could snoop. That's like really cool. Can't wait.
Always exciting to snoop through Sati tech. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Huh?
Oh, you were just starting to say something. Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Look at this thing.
Oh, hey, a distraction. Yeah.
Huh? Oh, yeah. What does this thing do? You walk over to one of my.
Oh, I mean, I'm the wrong person to ask. Usually I'm the person asking, what's this? What's this? So maybe I should ask you, what's that? And I point at what's in my bag.
So you don't know what it is?
Yes and no, but if you've got any preliminary conclusions, Dr. Clover.
Okay. It's really powerful. Not quite sure what it's supposed to do, but I think I know what the person who built it wants it to do. Think time manipulation. It's kind of in that area.
Okay, cool. You and I now know the exact same amount. Please welcome to the conspiracy. I'm Ozzy Crate. This is Fern. Was Fern. Please leave. It is so ticklish where you are.
Back in the armpit.
Yep.
Thinking about this point is when Joe would reemerge with Michael Yen in the lead, like constantly turning back to face her as he steps in the door, talking excitedly.
I'm assuming we're like very damp, if not soaking wet.
Yeah, at this point. Although you would notice that Michael Yen's shirt is completely dry when you guys step inside.
Whatever mid conversation, mid thought. How did that happen?
How did something happen? What happened?
And she kind of like points, like without touching, but like at his shirt. How And then points at her own shirt, which is soaking wet.
I don't understand. What's the problem? What did I do?
His shirt is completely dry.
Oh, it's a wet weave.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, wet weave.
That's very practical. I've only had it in lab uses.
Yeah, so quick backstory. Actually, who here? Actually, everyone here would know about wet weave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So literally reading out of the book, wet weave is genetically modified orb weaver spiders producing strong, super amorphic fabric. It's used for weatherproof outfits for humans and creatures, temporary shelters, flying apparatuses, and watercraft. Originally available only from Sati, there are now black market weave farms located around Gravak, many of which also cultivate other things. But yes, it is a super high-tech material that is produced here using the webs from big weave spiders. Also, I'm going to give a quick shout out to one of our big supporters, Rogan, and I apologize because I know you have arachnophobia, and I will do my best to steer the game away from any of these farms in which this weave is created and grown.
We're going there next game.
Well, there goes my backstory.
And here we go.
Oh, that's fascinating and very practical. I haven't seen it in general clothing, everyday clothing use. It's mostly, I guess, I've used it as lab equipment or in testing, but that is, yes, okay.
We have some supplies here that we've managed to preserve, and every now and then when trade comes through, there's a whole thing I'll have to talk to you guys about. Typically, we make our ways down to the Chalk Road and do trade just before a lot of the caravans reach Silvercreek. Kaleno. We leave Silvercreek to go to the Chalk Road, have trade. Usually, we can get discounted a little bit, get like sort of the early bird pricing, as it were, before they reach the gates of Kaleno City. So,
good to know.
Not an easy trek, to say the least.
No, I imagine not. Storm protocol? Anything we should know?
No, just batten down the hatches. And if you guys hear any of the alarms blaring out, because we've had a couple of occasions where lightning strikes have called us out to put out some fires, but that's very rare. Lightning strikes, depending on the storm, lightning strikes will cause forest fires or grass fires and whatnot, but typically the storm is so powerful, the wind where you might fear would carry the cinders and light everything else up, the rain is usually so heavy that it doesn't catch.
At the mention of fire, Joe like slowly slides gaze to Ozzy,
who is, by the way, shot for shot, same guilty conscience posture from when Clover walked in on Ozzy and Joe. Just same jump, same be cool, except the arm, which is at a strange angle because
creature. Yeah.
Part of a weasel. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you give the look at the mention of fire. And Yen continues talking, completely oblivious to the look. But aside from that, no. There was one time when I was, this must have been about 20 years ago, where we had an incident where some terrified sauropods, big ones, came charging through the valley. And at one point, we thought they were going to barrel through the walls here at Silvercreek. But Piper was able to, Piper's mother was able to steer them off.
Lightning rod.
Otherwise, it's just sort of a sit and wait kind of thing. I usually love storms. They're fascinating. Collect a lot of scientific data on the atmospheric differences. The intense oxygenation of the atmosphere here in the Cretaceous period causes some strange weather phenomena that we were not expecting when we first arrived. It's not too out of the ordinary, but let's just say things are, everything's bigger in the Cretaceous period. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Static discharges are a lot more common. In fact, I think some of the most violent storms we have are simply just static electricity that is built up typically from volcanic activity that's not too far from here. Causes massive electrical storms, causes some of the worst forest fires we've ever had. But during hurricanes or typhoons or whatever you want to call them, as they blow through here, it's kind of Usually we get the tail end of those.
Do you have
I think-
ways to combat the fires, or is that also a bat in the hatches?
No, we have flame
hunker
retardants.
down?
Sure. Yeah, no, we have ways to put things down. Yeah. That's not a fire's not really a problem in Silvercreek. It's the fire around Silvercreek. Nothing's gotten close to the settlement, thank goodness. But the red jaw wilds have burned down at least once in my lifetime.
I believe that is part of their natural life cycle in some species, but not my area of expertise.
Yeah, I mean, the entire ecosystem changes when it happens. Other dinosaurs come in here and start hunting, many of them actually expecting free meals because a lot of shelters for smaller mammals have been destroyed. So you'll get a lot of raptor activity, lots of pterosaurs start moving into the area because they don't have to worry too much about tree branches anymore. But eventually, over the course of about 20 years, you would be surprised. Again, a higher oxygenation in the atmosphere because this incredible amount of the sort of the breathing life cycle of the planet, because the extraordinary size and proliferation of plant life here in the Cretaceous period. Everything grows bigger, everything from insects to trees, and forests heal remarkably fast. You usually would have guessed maybe 10 years before full restoration between a forest, at least on a minor scale, but here it's anywhere between 6 to 7 years. It's quite impressive to see a forest completely go back. It's pretty amazing.
I've heard that the redwood trees like these last far into the future from where, the first commuters came from. There are some of these trees still exist. They're actually very fascinating. They hold each other up. If one gets struck by lightning, since that's what we're speaking about, they'll hold each other up and help it heal if it doesn't burn down, I suppose. But they really are fascinating. It's sort of a community of trees.
Absolutely is. Let me just add to that. He leans forward and he says, everyone focuses on dinosaurs here in the Cretaceous period, and they are fascinating. Don't get me wrong. They're my first love, but there's an entire ecosystem out there of life and death. There is an entire dance that happens at our feet, around us. The plant life here is in a constant state of you just start edging away.
I've realized I need to go out, actually.
Okay.
I need to go out. Yep. So
okay. Just be I would say don't stay out too long. The wind gusts will start picking up and they actually can become something of a danger if you're out for too long.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah. We're back.
All right, when you step out and the door closes behind you, the wind has begun to pick up significantly. And every now and then a gust kind of actually, you feel it push against you as cool air slashes rain across your face. The rain feels kind of nice. It's been, again, very humid, very warm. So
sunburn, water.
Oh, yeah. But about this point, what really catches your attention, though, as you're stepping out the front, is you see the gates of Silvercreek have opened again. And you see what looks like 3 individuals and a pterosaur that are entering into the gates, and they look exhausted. And at point, you see the Zach.
The person I was going to go check in about.
The person you all met in the Red Jaw Wild. Zach is his name.
Yeah.
You see him running in with 2 others. You think you remember the girl's name, something about Earth, Tara. She comes running in. You overheard them say the name. The other one you don't recognize at all, but they come running in together, and all of them just kind of catching their breath as the gates begin to close behind them. Zach, you are just... You definitely earned your merit badge today.
I'm just gonna put the solar chainsaw and shield away and look to Tara and go, "You did well. I'll give you an assessment, First Light."
Can't wait.
Kimmy's super agitated. And you yell and she gets more agitated.
Yeah, Kimmy is still kind of in like fight or flight mode a little bit. That adrenaline rush has not worn off. Yeah.
She's just like that.
Oh, girl. Well, it's just gonna pull out another ration and like not you don't give scritches to a dinosaur, but just like that pat of well done
down the gullet. As you all arrive and you make eye contact with you, I'm setting the storm at stage 2 now. Stage 2 is high winds and slashing rains, and the threat range has increased by 1. So now 1 through 4 triggers a GM intrusion. As we step into stage 2, we are going to take our 10-minute break. When we come back,
We're all in the city together.
yeah, I know. We finally have nearly the entire party together.
Everybody.
Y'all have spent more time split apart than you did in Space Show. In any of the space shows that we have run.
Welcome to
So,
Split the Party, the game.
Yeah. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Enjoy some Dino Facts. Welcome back to the Cretaceous period. We hope you enjoyed those dino facts. We're going to go ahead and jump back into our narrative tonight. Let's go ahead and pick up where we left off, which is the oncoming storm has raised to stage 2. So right now you are all experiencing high winds and slashing rain, which is affecting visibility, and it's going to be incredibly difficult for anybody who can fly to fly. It's going to be a little perilous. You have arrived at Silvercreek just as the storm is hitting, Zach. So by the time you come through the gates, you're being hammered by rain. And you can hear shouting over the winds and the rain, Piper telling you to get indoors. You can also see that she's ordering everybody else that is currently manning the wall to also take shelter. They're officially leaving their post and taking shelter inside Silvercreek. She starts crawling down the side of the wall along the rope and just spins all around and touches down next to you in the mud. Gives you a look and she goes, "Everything go okay out there?"
Yes, I'll give you a full detail later. You should get inside. I can make sure everyone is hunkered down.
She says, "Get your ass inside." When you say that to her and she points.
He goes, "Not before I get Kimmy into her shelter."
All right, get Kimmy into her shelter. Vecker, what are you looking at me like that for? Vecker shrugs and goes, "Oh, no big deal, boss. Just was wondering when the hell you were sending someone to feed me. I was sitting up there just, wasting away and enjoying the treetops and all." And she goes, "Shut the fuck up and get inside if you don't have anything productive to say." And he goes, "Yes, ma'am." And he jogs off. She turns and looks at you and says, "All right, let's get your friend into some safety." She glances about for a second. You see you taking quick stock, and she goes, "Zach, we don't have time to fiddle with this. Why don't you just take Kimmy over to Yen's place? He's always got room in the backyard area."
As you say. Come on, Kimmy.
Tara goes, "I'm headed home." She gives you the salute. "See you
did
after."
well.
She jogs off. Piper turns and starts making last-minute preparations, and you see a couple of people sealing the gate up. You also see them doing something that they do on occasion. You see foam being sprayed at the base of the walls, just, and this foam, as it begins to spread out, you see it sapping the moisture out of the soil around it before it settles in and gets wet again. But you basically have seen this before. This is sort of this bizarre tech foam that actually gets at the base. It strengthens the base of the walls and actually helps prevent some of the flooding. You just see them making their quick rounds with it. They've been at it for a while from the looks of it. As you're heading in, Zach, as they're just spreading this across the base of the wall. And as you are approaching what you know to be Michael Yen's house, you see somebody on the stoop, basically, glancing out towards you. Very familiar face.
Kimmy, you know the way. Just give her a pat.
Kimmy, of course, pterosaurs, when they walk, it's always such a curious sight. They basically kind of walk with their knuckles down and their short little legs as they kind of like slowly, their version of a gallop, move towards an enclosure. Surprisingly agile for a creature. Mm-hmm. It was not designed for the best of walking, but makes their way into Kimmy. You find yourself in a shelter. Kimmy, the moment you round the corner and start moving into the shelter, the enormous form waiting for you is the very familiar and very irritating pterosaur, your counterpart.
Oh, you startle her so bad. There is from outside, Zach hears like a shriek and like a couple of snaps, which is that something scared Kimmy. It's not like attack or anything, Kimmy, but it's like, nah, like.
it's funny to you, Kimmy, because, it's funny to the rest of everybody else. Kimmy absolutely dwarfs sweets. Like,
yeah, almost
it's enormous,
twice as tall.
like literally twice the size. And when you move in there, you see this enormous form. It takes your eyes a second to adjust before you realize that it's actually sweets on what looks like an elevated perch area.
Get snapped at, like not actually to bite, but like how loud, like her loud big beak that's like the size of most of your body. Like
anybody in Silvercreek can hear these two pterosaurs having a very loud conversation, apparently. They are figuring things out as they do from time to time. One of them is reminding the other one that it is top dog, and the other one is going sassy.
Just being sassy. Zach is walking over to the porch area, and who just kind of having a hard time seeing through the rain. Is there a reason you're outside?
Oh, Hey! It's you! You're here!
Unfamiliar.
Is that your Flaposaur? That was... Snap... Can they clap? Was that clapping?
Inside. Yeah,
I mean, I assumed, but...
He's just walking over to you, like, only if this is okay with you, like, just kind of like a hand, like, gently pushing you towards the door, like, inside, please.
I'd be happy to roll for it, but not for free without courtesy.
Absolutely.
Happy to.
All right. If you are going to try to roll to resist, then typically, interestingly enough, and this is something that we ran into on Callisto 6, was Cypher System inherently does not build itself for PvP action. And so what it relies upon is kind of just who gets the higher target number in the roll, which makes it kind of a gamble. You don't exactly know which target number to shoot for. So in this case...
Right, and then we added a +3 for skills. Sorts of things.
Yeah, we kind of just added a modifier for it.
Yeah, make number go bigger.
Yeah.
And beat target.
So if you got to, because +3 is usually enough to
I
jump
imagine
one level.
Zach might have something to that effect.
Yeah.
But I mean, Zach is kind of exhausted right now. I rolled an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does speed defense count here if I try to avoid the clothesline?
If you were trying to defend yourself from this,
then also an 8.
Okay.
I just wanted the tie.
Immovable meets unstoppable. The two of you kind of are locked in neutral here. They don't seem to be agreeing, adhering to the need to advance.
Can we Noir, why don't you say I'll use the momentum of the clothesline, step and turn it so we both basically do a 180 in place, but you do get a contact on me. No, I was worried about you because you were out in the forest and there's going to be some pine burning. What were you doing out so late?
My job, which also involves making sure everyone is safely inside during this storm, which is only going to get worse.
Yeah, I've heard. Michael Young was talking about it. My buddy Joe likes I think likes them. I think they're going to be a good set. Shouldn't you be inside then? If everyone should be inside, come on, let's get you inside. Why aren't you inside? Come on. If you have that clothesline arm, I will, buddy shoulder on you.
As much as Zach wants to resist, like the moment you kind of put his arms around your shoulders, the exhaustion kind of kicks in and just lets you take.
Accept the.
Okay, there's a bit of a collapse that takes place.
Yeah, it's just all right.
Yeah, no, let's get me inside. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I need to be inside. Let's go.
Okay. You guys step inside of Michael Yen's place. You find yourself in a dry environment, and lots of conversation happening indoors, as it would appear that Yen is just sort of regaling everybody in this place about the arboreal majesty of the Cretaceous period, as if no one here knew, as if you all hadn't spent your entire lives in the Cretaceous period. When you step inside, he reacts immediately, seeing you stepping, and goes, Zach, you were out at the Red Jaw. What? Are you okay? Do you need anything, or you need medical attention? Do you need some water? Even though there's plenty of that outside right now, if you want to just go open your mouth. But no, I got stuff that's filtered. If you want to.
He's funny.
You know, Yes, water would be great. Thank you.
Sure, yeah, take a seat.
You running a long way? How'd you get here? I assume you didn't ride on the dragon.
There's no such thing as dragons.
Dragon's a social construct. There can absolutely be. The point is glucose, right? Isn't that a thing? I looked to Joe. Exercise glucose a thing?
Yeah, you should replenish your strength if you've been doing heightened physical activity, which appears that maybe yeah.
It's my job to do this strenuous physical activity.
Oh, I don't mean to say that you shouldn't do the strenuous activity. I just say that you should support your body when you do so.
I simply meant that I have done this often, and I am aware of how to recover. Is everyone here okay?
It seems like maybe you're the only one who's not. I'll see myself out. like catching up on the being chastised was like, oh, okay, I'll let you.
You can all hear the rain, by the way, hitting the walls of the domicile that you're in. The storm is raging outside right now.
Zach is going to start unloading his equipment onto the nearest flat surface. So there's just a shield,
the floor,
a shield. But he's using way more energy than he should to make sure that it's neat and ready for use should the need arise.
Mm-hmm.
So the shield, the chainsaw, the bow, and the quiver. And then after all that weight is offloaded, honestly, I think he just sits crisscross applesauce next to all that stuff, pulls out a journal, and starts to write Tara's assessment. Yes, he's like nodding off as he's writing.
So if I put a Cretaceous granola bar on top of the bow, you'll definitely notice because you're very aware of the presence of all your weapons and stuff. Right?
Cretaceous granola bar, also a good band name.
I thought that was the venue at which Proto-Weasel plays.
Proto-Weasel plays a Cretaceous granola bar. All right.
Did you see?
Add that to the list. We're gonna seriously add that to the list of possible T-shirt ideas.
Oh, just like a concert shirt for it. I love it. Yep. All the
tour
places
date on the back of it.
all those Street Punks merch is gonna be just fictional bands.
Yeah, it's gonna be band names. It's all it's gonna be.
He says, if you put the granola on my bow will carry the scent of the granola, and you may very well get me killed on my next run.
Better take it off and eat it then. My goodness. That glucose.
Hand it to me, please.
Absolutely.
So, I hear that everyone got word of the storm. That's good. How soon were you all able to begin preparations?
Oh, I mean, soon relative to I don't really know when you called, because I'm new and unimportant, but I was kind of worrying on you, so I'm glad to see you're back. I heard you were out there, and yeah, I mean, you saved the kid. I think I saw the Zippy. Was it Zippy, Joe?
Zippy, yeah.
Yeah, I saw the Zippy getting hunkered down probably like 3-4 hours ago, would you say?
Yeah, we were able to spot the storm through the eyes of the pterosaur. So that was a good indicator.
Through the eyes of the pterosaur.
Well, eye singular, isn't it? Like turning to Clover, like
band name.
Album name at the very least. This is going to be the ongoing thing. That is at least an album name. Through the eye.
That's my favorite album. That is the hit single played
Single.
at Cretaceous granola bar by Proto Weasel.
Are we tracking this? We need to keep track of this.
Like,
You see, I
Maybe
am
all night.
pterosaurus, the screech of the bird. Oh, sorry.
I was just talking to my community this morning about how impossible it would be to do a 2-hour RPG episode. And I was
We
like,
have
think
tried.
of all the things you would lose if you limited it to 2 hours.
Hey, all you got to do is have a cast of 2. That's how we did it.
That's true. We're all fired. Sam, let's go.
Anyways, turning to Clover, like singular eye, I actually didn't get a chance to look. The singular eye of the pterosaur,
Oh,
one,
both eyes.
both. Oh, through the both eyes of the pterosaur. Yeah.
I would like someone to explain this scouting technique, please.
oh, you're in. And I'll just take a glass of water from Michael Yen, who I think passed it over to Zach. Like, get ready.
It's down immediately.
As Michael comes in, Joe goes, "Oh, this is what I was telling you about. This is what Clover's about to. You're gonna like this." And
Yeah, so Clover has her goggles. She takes them off from around her neck, hands them. Oh, actually, first she starts to hand them in excitement, while rushes over to you, Zach, and then oh wait, I have to set it up. I just forget. Also, I like to always ask her for consent, so let me just give me a minute. She puts the goggles on, taps some buttons on the side, and says, "Sweets,
Sweets who's outside.
hey, Sweets." Hi, is now a good time?
Yeah, how's Sweets handling things with Kimmy? Because Sweets had their own space there for a second, but now
Oh my god.
Sweets really thought that this was going to be their own space, that they were heading into their own space.
I think Sweets is curious and more than anything, self-preservation. So it's just, I'll see this space. I wanted to check out another space anyway.
Kimmy is full on pouting. So if you look through Sweet's eyes, you see Kimmy full on like "no talk me, I'm angry" posing in the corner with like her beak like pressed up against the corner, like looking over, like she's still watching, but like she has her big beak like pressed into the corner, and she's just really irritated that this guy's here too. Like, and so that's what you see through Sweet's eyes.
Yeah.
Oh
No
no.
talk me, I'm angry.
Oh, okay. Oh, there. Oh, okay. Well, here you go. And I hand the goggles over to Zach.
Zach's gonna put it on and go, oh no, thank you. Here.
It's not for you.
It made me really dizzy, so understand.
Oh, and she's not even flying right now, so yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, it's very disorienting. I look around. Anything else of note in this shelter for the animals?
It's very dark, but I think you would see as Sweets is glancing about, there is a lot of water flowing down the main path of Silvercreek right now. Like a lot. A little small river is just flowing past the front door of where you guys are. You are seeing the occasional brilliant flash of lightning, followed very quickly by rolls of thunder. And the rain is sort of coming down at close to about a 45-degree angle at this point. The wind is really roaring outside.
Well, I hope Silvercreek's drainage system is properly set up, because that's a lot of rain.
Oh, it's not the rain that we have to worry about. It's the river.
Yeah.
It can easily
That's the problem.
flood
It's always the problem.
and we'll have problems.
It depends on how big the storm is. I've actually been measuring it. He holds up this little device that you've seen before, Ozzy. You see this 3-dimensional holographic projection that shows what looks like a small section of what seems to be a supercell storm. You don't get the full altitude of clouds, but you see it can measure up to 2 miles, and the storm just keeps going. It kind of vanishes after 2 miles in height. And he goes, "Yeah, it's a big one. It's not. I've seen bigger, frankly. But that's total mass, like size of the storm. I don't know how tall it is. I've never been able to figure that part out. But this one looks like it's going to be a big one. So it's probably good that we're nestled in. My guess is And I'm sure Piper is preparing for this right now, but my guess is we're probably going to have a flood warning in the next hour.
How long will it take this storm to pass?
It depends, but from what I'm reading in my sensors here, it's probably going to be for the rest of the day. I mean, it's only 6 a.m. right now.
It's moving incredibly quickly.
So if there's lots of rain, and that suppresses the fires, do fires still happen like in the eye of the storm or something, where there isn't rain?
Fires.
Oh, well, if it hasn't become a tropical depression or a tropical storm itself, then, if it still has an eye, I haven't seen that happen before. That would, not that it's not possible, obviously, that would literally be just like a perfect storm of events, pardon the pun. But it could happen, yes. I think it would be soon suppressed, however, by the passage of the eye. Storm would certainly swallow it up if the rain was consistent across the cell. I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's mostly the static storms that you have to worry about when it comes to fires. It would take an extraordinary amount of lightning activity to cause significant enough fire to pauses and says, unless there are circumstances in which it would happen, they're exceedingly rare.
What kind of circumstances are those? And look significantly over at Joe.
Well,
and then back with Aussie curiosity.
Let's see. Circumstances for a raging fire in the middle of a tropical storm like this, I would say. Yeah. We did have a pretty wet season. There's a lot of foliage. There's a lot of stuff to light up in the Red Jaw Wilds right now. The grasslands are quite thick at the moment. Still not very likely. I suppose the most likely candidate, and again, this is exceedingly rare. None of this is... One has never hit Silvercreek yet, thankfully, but the most likely culprit would be a time terror.
I'm going to need someone to explain to me why we're talking about fires.
I think they're just curious. You're just curious? Unless...
Always am. Did I not preface the first time I met you all the way back this
right, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, and I look at Clover and I look at Joe.
For some lore and background, time terrors are indeed, as he has said, they are indeed rare. They are also indeed a big problem. To give you an idea, time terrors are kind of what happens when a time anomaly becomes the size of a storm. And they usually happen out of nowhere. There's very, very little warning when they bubble up. And time terrors are dangerous because you could have gale force winds 10 feet away from you and calm weather where you're standing. They are also, inside time terrors, things can happen as the landscape around you and time itself seems to start to misbehave and stop advancing the way it normally does. The laws of physics kind of take a break. They can be lethal. And they are usually one of the most unpredictable things you can encounter.
Joe leans over to Ozzy and says, Larson effect. Microphones.
Yeah.
Based on what I can see of this, like Michael's radar and what they have on their little holographic screen, is there any way that Joe could estimate a storm of this size? Would it be able to put out any potential fires? Like the amount of rain that we're likely going to get, is that going to be helpful or a deterrent in any way to a potential fire set by a time terror?
You're trying to extrapolate how the hell a fire could happen when you're being told it probably can't. Essentially,
yeah.
With regards to
basically that, but also okay, a fire's gonna happen. Could the storm handle it after the fact, though? I think she's trying to work her way around to. There's so much water right now. Could this be a deterrent? Could this stop it from spreading? Could this be unlikely that it would even stick because of the water? Like that's kind of she just
I would
based
say
on
make
that.
I would say make an intellect check here, and I'm going to put this at difficult. So you need a 12 or better. It's at level 4.
Okay.
Challenge 4.
I have a skill in scientific investigation, actions
That would count.
involving. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So knock that
Your
down
base-
1, and then does this count as you? I have a skill that is computer systems. I'm using his computer system, like to like.
Yeah, that would count as
a
an
computer
asset.
readout.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay.
So that'll lower it another one. So that'll drops it from 4 to 3 to 3 to 2. So now you need 6 or better.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go from there.
Okay. So make a roll. It is in fact your turn to roll.
Oh,
Are you throwing a peace sign, or did you just absolutely get me a GM intrusion?
I got a GM intrusion.
There is absolutely no data to support that there could ever be a fire. It seems incredibly unlikely that there's going to be a fire of any kind.
So I just do want to throw out there very, very quickly that I do have an inability from my empirical thing, which is when I get a GM intrusion, any action I take in response to it is one step more difficult. And this response to this, the response will be to the literal firestorm. So I will have...
Okay.
So moving forward, anything with a firestorm is going to be one step more difficult because I didn't plan for this. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't like that. That is scientifically not possible. So just, help me remember that I'm going to have problems later.
You definitely get, so just your deductive reasoning. Fires during storms like this it's always possible, but at a storm of this level and intensity, it's not likely that a fire could catch. That's not to say that the thing is that like as the storm passes past the area, it's entirely possible that lightning continues to linger.
Mhm.
And then after the slashing rain has died down, it's entirely possible that a forest fire could be erupt. Lightning strikes are one of the most common reasons why forest fires happen, and it's possible, but this is a big storm, so you're not sure how.
Big storm, flood warning. She can't wrap her head around it based on the facts that are in front of her. So,
Yep.
Cool. She just has that. She goes through that in her mind, and it just kind of is frowning at the radar.
Okay.
No, yeah, just curious. That's all. Zach?
I see. Well, we have enough to worry about without having to wonder. The storm is going to be something we can survive, but we will also need to recover from it. There'll be tons to clean, debris to remove, and of course, calming the dinosaurs. So I say prepare for what we know we have to prepare for, and should a fire arise, we'll deal with it then.
That's very wise. Yes, we will focus on recovering. Look to Michael again. Blanket? I'm back at Zach.
Michael looks back and says, "Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
One sec." Comes back with a
No,
blanket.
you wanted another water, didn't you? I'll grab you that real quick.
Did I mention need it? Yes, thank you.
Michael sits down on the sofa and just holds his hands and goes, "Anybody want to play a game? I have checkers."
Question, out of game, above game question. Did we sleep or have we been up all night?
I'm assuming some of you slept. I certainly get the impression that Clover slept. Judging from the fact that you were kind of waking up when you emerged, but it's early morning. I can tell you that Zach did get some sleep, but then woke up pretty early when there was hunting
that's
going on.
right. We did
Fled the
have-
Red Jaw Wilds.
Right. We had an overnight. Okay.
Mhm.
I forgot. I was thinking Clover just took a bath and then took a nap and had a change of clothes. But
I
we
mean,
could just say it was
As somebody who lives out in the wilderness, a power nap is usually how you survive. Sleeping long term in an exposed area can get you killed. So
well,
it's up to you.
Yeah. I think she probably slept a couple of hours. It was more like a nap.
Okay.
So you all see sitting on a corner of the couch, Clover is like doing that thing where it's like, I'm awake.
Okay.
Like not realizing she's nodding off. But she's definitely nodding off.
All right.
While sitting upright.
I did offer to do cybernetic maintenance to, I believe, multiple people in the room. If that's, I'm not going to be able to sleep anytime soon. So if that's something anyone would be interested in, I'm happy to pull out my toolkit.
Sorry, no gear on me yet, Joe.
Yeah.
Unless, I was thinking the super speed why do you keep saying no to my super speed legs?
You don't need them. You're very fast.
I want them.
Super speed legs.
It's this whole idea I have.
There are versions of it that exist, but they want them to
Go faster.
Picture project, yes.
And also have fire on behind, because fire makes you go faster. Everyone knows this.
As you all continue to converse inside, everyone starts to very slowly note how loud it's getting out there. At this point, stage 2 is moving into stage 3 of the storm. It's been about an hour and a half now, we'll say, as you all have been bunkered down. Stage 3 of the storm sets the GM intrusion range from 1 through 5. Right now, there are howling winds and slashing rain, and debris is blowing past the house. You're seeing tree branches and grass. You're seeing all kinds of just like detritus from everywhere, just flying through Silvercreek. Most of it looks like it is from plant life. It has been torn up and thrown. But right now outside, there are hurricane force winds blowing. It's gusting at least about 70 miles per hour outside. And you guys can hear the structures that y'all are in, despite the fact that they are small domiciles here in Silvercreek, thankfully built with some of the most advanced tech that was brought from the future down here, is holding. The roof is holding. All of the facilities around here seems like they're holding. But you can hear the groaning of the walls of Silvercreek on the outside. You can hear these loud popping sounds from time to time. It sounds like great tree trunks are cracking. Every now and then, Michael doesn't keep his cool, and he kind of stiffens and just looks like he's listening for a second, and then slowly eases. And when he catches anybody looking at him, he goes, "We'd hear an alarm if they needed us." So they're probably checking it right now.
Alarms can fail.
It's true. Piper will probably contact people if we need to do something. Going outside right now would be very, very dangerous.
I think Joe is sitting next to Ozzy, just like crisscross kind of on the floor, back to the couch sort of a thing while we're waiting things out. And I think just goes, I didn't get a chance to maintenance Atticus's leg before he went out. I was going to give him time to rest before I annoyed him with it.
Anywhere you're going to want to bunker down, like, you're probably not moving around if you're 13 tons either. So I think Atticus's leg will be all right if it is unmaintained until
You hear this
after the storm.
pinging sound suddenly. Just as you finish your sentence, Ozzy, you heard this. Oh, and you see Yin straightens up and goes, "Oh, hold on 1 sec." And he pings again, and then a voice over the intercom, and you hear Melina's voice go, "Okay, everyone, this is Dr. Melina. Everything is okay. I know everyone's probably heard the sounds from outside. Piper has just reported back that there has been damage to the exterior walls. There's some cracking. Right now, we're tracking to see if any flooding is taking place. We will keep you all informed, but there's no need to be alarmed. Right now, everything is holding just fine. Stay where you are. No one go outside. And I will continue to deliver updates." Melina out. Cuts off the comms. And you see Yin relaxes a little bit and says, okay, I had a feeling it was probably okay. We would probably hear something.
Yeah, on the way here, we encountered Stripe.
You did. He leans forward with intense interest and he goes, what was the situation? Did you encounter her? Or did you just spot her?
Encountered.
No kidding. Everyone made it back okay?
Everyone's safe.
And how did she look? Did she look healthy? Was she?
She looked like Stripe.
Of course, terrifying.
I just worry with the damage to the walls.
I'm not terribly worried. I'm not terribly worried, honestly. If there was a problem with the walls, Stripe has certainly been bold in the past, but Stripe has never staged, Stripe has never come near Silvercreek. Skystone clan has made sure that that is not going to be a thing that ever happens. Otherwise, we will all be eating T-Rex meat by the end of the day.
As you say.
That being said, how close was Stripe?
She was at the outpost.
The outpost, okay. That's not bad. That's actually not bad. That's a good distance away. The outpost, of course, built so we could spot activity like Stripe. So, well done. We're good. You spotted Stripe and you made it back alive, and Stripe is probably running for Stripe's life right about now. I mean, every large sauropod, you name it, they're all probably taking cover at the moment.
She's probably gorging herself to bunker down for the storm.
That's my guess. But
Hey,
that's good to know.
what about Deinosuchus in a storm where the river floods? How does that work?
You see Yen look away for a moment, and you instantly detect apprehension. And he says, you're referring to the ridiculously named Grimscale, which I did not agree to name Grimscale that. I wanted to call him Big Mouth, but I was overruled on that one. That is a completely valid question. Yes. In the past, when we have had flooding and the water line approaches Silvercreek, it's very rare when Grim makes his way downstream like that. He normally stays near Jaeger Swamp. That's kind of his bedding area. We did have one tiny little incident where he got a little close, and that became a bit of a thing, but it all ended up okay, and that was years and years ago. I'm not we've had floods since then, and we haven't had a situation. I'm not particularly worried about it. Sorry.
Joe feels just a little bit of a tremble as I discover I am not a storm Aussie.
I suppose I should ask our new arrivals, are you at all trained in defending yourself should you need to?
No, not at all.
I could make a go of defending myself in a court of law. Maybe. Not trained.
You'd be good at that.
Well,
Yeah.
I promise to get for my own part, I promise to get a very decent scan before old Grim swallows me. Very unlikely I would be swallowed, though. It's more likely I would be crushed and then swallowed.
You'd be dead by then, so you don't have to worry about being swallowed.
Pretty quick, depending on. Yeah, pretty quick. Really,
The me-
don't need to
the-
death roll when you're only 1/3 the size of the creature that's eating you.
The method of your demise depends on where she captures you.
That is true. He is.
Ear muffs burn.
It's not likely. Grim is definitely dangerous, but is not as aggressive as Stripe. Grim doesn't come looking for trouble. Grim is kind of the king of the swamp and likes to just sit in the swamp and do swamp things. Doesn't like most of his species, likes for food to come to him. Doesn't really go looking for it per se. Ambush feeder, essentially. Like most, not ambush hunter. So yeah. Although there was a few instances a few years ago. It was very early on when the ferry service was. We were trying to get connected to Kaleno City, and they decided it was a little too dangerous. So anyway, I was talking up a storm here. Let's see what I said.
During this part of the conversation, Clover is asleep.
Okay, Clover, you're listening to this, but honestly, this is not your first storm outside of. I mean, this is
I'm
probably their
inside.
first-
I'm safer than I usually am right now. And
Yeah.
I think the sound of the wind is actually really like calming. Not calming, but you know how like
yeah.
yeah, that
The-
white noise kind of thing. Yeah.
The caves that you all lived in, they were a little bit at higher altitude. You never had to worry about gale force winds or anything like that. It was always flooding inside the cave. It was always the issue. But butterflies came up with some pretty ingenious ways of taking care of that. This, however, is cozy compared to what you've experienced. You've lived out inside that for your entire life, and now
Yeah. Also,
You're dry, baby.
yeah,
You got-
dry, safe, like cool technology everywhere. I'm like very cozy right now. Also, mechanically, I did 2 recovery rolls.
Okay.
One during nap earlier because I had spent like almost half of my intellect points, and I was like,
really? Yeah,
yeah,
good to
that's why I
do a
was asking.
recovery
I was
roll.
like, did we rest?
you could technically do 3 recovery
Yeah.
rolls because you have 1 action, 10 minutes, 1 hour.
I'm gonna take all
I
three.
only needed to
also.
take the first 2 because
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was able to roll
I'm
high
gonna
on
take
both.
one.
If
so-
anybody
I'm gonna take
has
the
used
1
any,
hour.
yeah, if any of y'all have used any of your points out of your pool, you can use a recovery roll to gain back 1d6 plus your tier, which is 1 currently. So, I highly
Yeah, I'm doing that.
I can't
Alright.
think about recovery
Oh,
rolls without
yes.
thinking about.
Without thinking about what?
I can't think of recovery rolls without thinking about a certain battle that took place in our superhero game
Oh,
in which we almost lost someone.
oh.
But
Yeah.
then there were necklaces and everything's okay.
Then there were necklaces and everybody, somebody's butt got fixed and we were fine.
I mean, as ordered. Be your medical bot.
Your name was. Your name.
A relic of the past.
Fix his butt.
Fix his butt.
Ah,
I'm gonna
Immortal.
go retweet that after this.
Immortal.
immortal.
Zach is gonna say. Your name is Ozzy, as I recall, correct?
Everybody in this town, how do you get so good with names? Yes, it's Ozzy.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for the water and the food. Have you thought of ways that you will contribute to Silvercreek?
I have been feeling some anxiety about that very thing because I think the project management skills I've developed, although broad in their utility, don't quite have the specificity. But there are also some independent projects that I'm probably gonna have to talk to Dr. Molina about pursuing.
That was a lot of words to say.
I'm decorative. Yeah.
Decorative.
Yeah.
Are you interested in learning survival, combat, hunting?
Survival sounds like it beats the alternative, right?
There are those who are trained in survival, and then there are those who rely on those that are trained on survival.
Oh, that's me, the second one right now. Yeah, no, yeah. But I have sunscreen in my bag for rain burn.
Did you say rain burn?
Look, sometimes I can think on my feet. Sometimes I've been running around having non-existent temporal rocks landing on my head. So it wasn't my best moment, but everything's
We
fine.
are sitting on the floor currently, so
There we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what does that have to do with anything?
well, you're not on your feet.
Okay. See, that's how slow I am right now. Didn't even catch that. What were we talking about?
Ozzy, while this conversation is happening,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
Two things happen.
Yep.
You kind of, as you're talking, kind of as you look around, going like, "What were we talking about?" That's when you notice that Clover looks like she has fallen into a very deep, restful sleep. It looks like she is just over there, just kind of relaxed. You also get the impression, just from the position that Clover is in, it's actually rather remarkable to see, but she seems to have fallen asleep sitting up. It instantly triggers in you a memory of seeing this out on the open road. She is probably used to survival at all costs in the wilds and has apparently trained herself. You just see her just sitting there very peacefully, her eyes closed. And it takes you a moment to realize that you're kind of pulling a little bit at your collar and feeling the moisture on your skin as it starts to feel a little warm in here.
I'm definitely looking for like a pillow or a coat or something to put under Clover's head. And if I'm incidentally looking in my bag and seeing if the lights are particularly blinky, that's just a happenstance. But also, what do they look like, Eric?
The lights inside?
Yeah, if I just happen to, brush open the flap of my bag, just happen to take a look at it. Really, I'm going for the coat, for the pillow, for the Clover.
Okay. Looking into the bag at your device.
Yeah.
The numbers are fluctuating. You see them going up and down in different directions, resetting and flickering again. They look like they are just moving in a pure chaotic fashion.
Oh.
At that point, you begin to realize it's actually kind of uncomfortably warm, like a sauna suddenly. You just feel this overwhelming. And when you all see Ozzy doing this, the rest of you are starting to experience that temperature spike as well. Everyone's kind of like, is it really warm in here? It just feels like the inside of a mouth all of a sudden, except for it's getting warmer and warmer. Uncomfortably so. Like it went from feeling kind of comfortable to about like a 95-degree summer day inside.
This is something that would be clearly out of the normal for this area.
It might be one of those things where you think you might be having an anxiety attack or something, but you glancing about, you see like everyone is reacting like they too are aware of it, and that is what's causing everyone to kind of go. If you would like, you can make an intellect-based check. If you have any sciences or anything like that to detect, you can do it. And the difficulty is going to be rather high. It's going to be at 5, so 15.
Yeah, I don't have any sciences, but I'm still gonna go for it just cause. That doesn't work that way. Stop thinking that it does. All right, okay. I was like, danger sense? No, okay. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, that's a fail. That's a
Okay.
big old fail.
Would you roll?
I wrote a 2.
You roll. That's a GM intrusion.
Oh,
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. You slowly turn and glance towards the outside because, Ozzy, your instinct, your sensitivity to these things thanks to the proximity of your device, is causing the hair on your neck to stand up a little bit. Your instinct is going off. The same way it might feel like if you were being stalked by something in the high grass. You feel like something is wrong. Your thinking mind hasn't caught up to what it is, but your instincts are telling you you're in danger. Everyone else is kind of checking in. Hey, is it warm in here? You see Yen goes, actually it is a little bit. That's unusual.
This is your climate control malfunctioning.
I don't have climate control.
Zach's going for the weapons.
Glance slowly to your right as your feet pull you up, and you glance towards the door. Ozzy. You don't know why your instinct taking you over. And as you slowly make your way over to your left, you see the form of Zach moving over to his satchel, where you see a weapon and a shield laying on the floor. Zach immediately goes, as a Karn is wont to do when there's something unusual happens, goes straight for his comfort blanket, which is essentially the deadly weapons in which he has laying nearby. You see him reach down, and as he's sifting through and getting that thing set up, your eyes dart outside the window when something catches your vision. You see outside, the rain is falling straight. You just see it falling straight down. And you notice that the trees around the walls are still thrashing about like a huge wind is ripping them left and right. The key that gives it away, though, is it starts to click into place, is the temperature, bizarre sight outside, and then all at once, the rain begins to slow down, and you see balls of lightning begin to trace across the ground, forming from nowhere. Some of them are traveling at different speeds, but they just form right in front of you, just moving all about the ground. They light up the interior of the walls of Silvercreek with this brilliant white light. Looking at them causes the afterimage to burn into your eyes for a second. You have to blink away. And in that instance, you see a few of them jump like they're leaping from one conductor to the next, though there's nothing they're leaping to. They pop in and out of like spots in the air. Your instinct is to whirl around and warn everybody. And at the same moment you do that, one appears inside right in front of Zach. Just as Zach's hand reaches down and touches the metal holdings of his weapon. And you see this explosion of electricity go shocks outwards, blinding white light. You are on your hands and knees, and people are running by you. You hear shouting and screaming. You're starting to choke a little bit. It takes you a moment to clear your throat when you realize you're breathing in heaps of ash. And you were surrounded by the orange, reddish glow of flames. You instantly glance up Ozzy to take stock of what you're seeing, but you don't see anybody running past you. You just hear them. The reddish orange glow of flames, indeed. You know that you're in the middle of something burning, but there's no fire. And yet ash is drifting down, and instead what you see is, it's not ash. No, wait. It's snow. The heat is still there. Snow is drifting across your face, and two images start to form in front of you out of the haze of smoke and frost that seem to intertwine. You're hearing voices. You can't make them out, but you see two people up ahead. They don't seem to be aware of you, but they're facing one another. You focus in on them, and you see one looking to the other and saying something. Without having to roll, you can tell that one is saying something comforting to the other, and the other one is nodding in place. One is a very large woman. She looks like heavily built. She's wearing what looks like a crude corset. It looks like it is sewn together using these strange leathers and whatnot that's all kind of packed in with these strange like slivers of metal, making it look like this really sort of like awesome Cretaceous period metal, like leather armored corset that she is wearing, strapped up. This big frizzy hair that's been tied back tight. You can see noticeably, though, this huge scar that is running from the side of her head. It looks like it takes some of her ear off and runs all the way down her neck. And you think you see it actually continue down the length of her arm on the opposite side of her body. The person she's standing next to as she's talking is somewhat smaller in stature, has like frizzy, kind of fried looking hair that's tied back into a really tight ponytail. You see all these brilliantly colored feathers of like different colors that are like tied to their clothing. Their clothing looks like it is just a patchwork of leathers and baggy pants and heavy boots. Or no, it looks like maybe a kilt, some kind of like bizarre kilt utility thing that's kind of wrapped around them. Neither one of them seems to be aware of you, but one reaches out and grabs the other one's hands. You can see their words, even though you can't hear them. Their lips, they move. One's telling the other it's going to be okay. This is the way we can save everyone. The smaller one says, I don't know if I can take on this kind of responsibility. The larger one replies, me either. But if we do this, we can change everything. They ignite into flames and burn right in front of you. Neither one of them screams out in pain. Neither one of them seems aware of it. But you do witness the horrible effects of somebody burning. And then you snap awake and are thrown across the room. In that blinking second, all of this took place. Zach, you are going to take 6 points of physical damage as this ball lightning explodes in front of you and sends you across the room. However, you don't collide with anything because you freeze in midair, right in front of everybody. And Zach stops, like someone pressed the pause button. It's all happened all at once. Yin leaps to his feet and goes, oh my God. Oh my God. He immediately rushes over to the one of technology. You see him like activate this little speaker and goes, Dr. Molina, come in. Dr. Molina, are you there? And you hear static coming back and all these voices flooding through the intercoms. If you guys want to make perception checks, you can. Difficulty is going to be very high. It's going to be 6. So you need an 18 or better to land this.
Is it 7 for Joe?
Is it 4? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Does this, is it up 1 for me, or is this, I had specifically looked into Firestorm, but is this an extension of that?
Firestorm? It is not, no.
Okay.
Is it an extension of that? Yes, it would be, yes.
Yes. So then I think it's 7 for me.
So it's 7 for you. You need a 21 or better.
I'm the anti-rules lawyer.
No, I know. This is what I want. I wanted to be reminded of it. This is not something she expected. None of this makes sense to her. So she's having a tough time.
If you want to spend effort, you can.
So is this roll to perceive what is being said?
Yes.
Is that what we're rolling
for? Make out the
okay.
voices.
Okay. Oh, we all see this?
You're all hearing it.
Now we hear it, this part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yin activated the comms to try to get a hold of Melina to let her know what is going on, because he apparently knows what this is too.
Oh.
And as he's activated the intercom, instead, the entire room is being flooded with hundreds of voices.
Interesting. Okay, I'd like to use a story point.
Okay.
To make this a little more possible.
Yep. I will make this a special one. This one comes from Breeks. Ever the supporter Breeks. Thank you so much. That is going to, I will lower the difficulty for the everyone by 1.
Okay. Thank you, Breeks.
Possible for me
since
again.
everybody's rolling it. Yeah. So
does Zach also roll? Like, I'm completely fine with him not rolling.
You got a game intrusion. You are frozen. You do not.
Yes!
You are not perceiving anything.
I'm trying.
Zach is stuck in the Matrix right now.
Should I spend effort?
I know kung fu.
I'm not gonna spend. I'm not gonna spend effort. I'm just gonna roll it.
Okay.
Nah. So it's 5, level 5 now. Challenge 5.
Yeah, it started at 6. It's going to
6.
drop for everyone down to 5, except for Caitlin, because Joe
7
is
down to 6.
experiencing a 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody else, you
15 or
need a
better.
15 or better.
Did not make it.
Okay.
Also, I rolled a 3.
Excellent.
Yeah. I rolled a 13, so no more complications for me. But
Okay.
I am not absorbing any of this. Does not make any sense.
Okay. How about you? How did you do, Ozzy?
Oh, you said may, not must roll on perception, and I'm currently strongly considering running out of the room, so I don't know that my focus is on listening at the
Fair enough.
moment.
That's
Like,
fair.
get potential source of time danger away from freeze float is probably more of my focus at this moment than voices. Yes.
All right. You immediately throw open the door, which causes Michael Yin to have a moment of panic, expecting gale force winds to come smashing through the door. Instead, you run out into a calm nothingness. You splash through raindrops that are hovering through the air. At first, you think maybe they might be frozen as they fall, but in fact, they are moving at such a slow speed that it's difficult to perceive their descent. You are literally just running through a curtain of water as you smash out. Even as you step into the puddles, the water and starts to freeze in place. However, you are continuing to move through normal time. The voices that you heard coming through the intercom are still present to you, Ozzy. You're hearing them from all over the place. However, Dahlia, who's in her... Oh, Dahlia's in her home. It's actually Clover. Clover, who just got a GM intrusion. I will take this first. Clover, you rise up out of your seat because you have managed to piece together that you are in a time terror. It has clicked with you immediately that that's what this is. The spike in temperature was kind of the giveaway, but the anomalous, the balls of lightning, which are very typical of time terrors, that is what gave it away. As you leap up to your feet, you find yourself standing in front of a circle of butterflies, each of them staring at you. And at your feet is the body of the Queen of Butterflies, Aldane. Her eyes are still open, and she lays on the ground with a brutal slash across her chest. Most of her arm is missing from the attack of the dinosaur that Arcos had attack her. His T-Rex lingers behind him, swaying. Arco is a man who stands at about 5'7", 5'8". Low center of gravity. He has an average build. He's not rippling with muscles. He is tattooed up with piercings across his ears and lips. Thick head of hair, not shaven like most of the butterflies who like to keep their hair short so they don't have to contend with the dangers of the jungle and the insects that like to nest. He, on the other hand, seems to invite this kind of careless attitude. His T-Rex behind him seems to be anxious. You can still see the blood staining the front part of its jaws from its little bite that it managed to get in before it was pulled off. And he paces in front of you. This man dressed in these leathers and whatnot. In his hand, he has what looks like a fashioned pike made out of some kind of combination of metals and woods. Something that he's always wielded as very deadly weapon. He's just holding it, looking at you with a small smile on his face. Wags his finger at you and he says, "This is the problem. This is why she had to die. Because falsehoods are what tear us apart." And he turns and he puts his back to you and he faces the rest of the butterflies who are all watching. You can see a lot of uncertainty and shock in the eyes of the other butterflies as Aldane's body lay there, the blood pooling in the mud. He says, "Don't you see we are being tested? The lies Aldane tells us. They have broken her. Sati has corrupted her mind and turned her against the way. We all know it is inevitable. sky will fall. And our work is not done. And then he waves his finger and points directly at you, and he says, and we must kill anyone who tries to tear our fellowship apart. Clover. Why? Why would you betray us? It gives me no pleasure to kill you, to make an example of you in front of our family. But what choice have you left me? We must protect the way, or humanity does not stand a chance. You have sided against us. Now you have to die. I will mourn you. For a time. Kill her.
I turn and bolt.
You dash. And to your relief, some of the butterflies try to cover your escape. And you hear him shouting, no! Kill everyone! Kill everyone that stops her! And the butterflies immediately, weapons get drawn, and you hear screaming and shouting as you run through a crowd of violence. And it stops becoming events and starts becoming metaphorical as blood spatters across your face. You find yourself pulling yourself off of somebody who you've just knifed in the throat. You pull yourself up just in time to see someone charging you with a spear, screaming like a zealot, absolute bloodthirst in their eye. And just as they're about to reach you, Sweet swoops in. And you see behind just a clutter of wings, the pterosaur body tackles this poor human to the ground. You only see the feet kicking as the pterosaur does its dirty work. The grim sight of watching Sweets, who is usually of a good disposition, absolutely destroy this person. And then step off the open sky in front of you, the chaos around you. And in the moment you remember, but I took a wound. And just as you remember thinking that, the spear sprouts out of your shoulder. And Clover, from events past, you take 6 points of physical damage. Anybody in the living room watches Clover suddenly all around her. You start seeing space warp. And anybody looking at her sees blood spray from nowhere across her face and a spear erupt from the side of her chest. Sweets comes smashing through the front door in a fury. Sweets, all you know is that once again, she needs to escape. They're trying to kill her.
Who's the closest to her?
That would be Michael Yen.
Squawk. Lunges in, no questions asked.
It makes sense to your mind because you see him reaching out to help Clover, but in that moment, all you see is someone who just slammed a spear through the back of Clover. You clatter chaotically through the entrance, smashing through the sofa and pushing your way across. And go ahead and make your attack roll.
Am I
Difficulty is 2. Yes,
am I able to do anything?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to have you roll initiative.
Oh.
And it's going to be against the difficulty in which you would normally use to sort of gain control of Sweets, which is going to be 3. So you need a 9 or better.
Okay. I was going to ask if I can call out to try to stop Sweets.
It's an initiative roll.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So if you make the initiative roll, then you can take the action to try to stop Sweets.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, Sweets is getting there first.
I just did Sweets roll. You're really gonna wanna.
A story point.
Okay.
Please,
That'll
I
lower the-
love Michael Yen, please.
That'll lower the difficulty down to 2, so you need a 6 or better.
A 6 or better?
6 or better to get initiative right now.
I'm gonna spend 2 intellect for
it would be speed.
effort. Sorry,
Speed. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Out of your speed
I'll spend
pool. So
2
then
speed.
that'll lower it down from 2 down to 1. So you need a 3 or better.
Okay, jeez. Come on, don't.
Got this.
fuck
I believe. I believe. I
Don't fuck
believe.
this
I
up.
believe. I believe. I believe.
Oh my god, I got a 5.
That means you succeed and you trigger a GM intrusion.
Oh my god! But also, wait, I had to beat. Oh, okay.
You had to beat, but the fail. So you were going to succeed, but if you roll between 1 and 5, it triggers a GM intrusion because of the state of the storm. So,
but am I initiative against Sweets though?
You've won initiative against Sweets. So now you can take your action to tell Sweets to stop.
Okay. Amidst the incredible pain and confusion and timey-wimey brain fog, I see Sweets crash in, and as her claws are coming towards Michael Yen's front,
that
will
beak will impale Michael Yen.
Yeah, I will call out, "No!"
What was your roll?
My roll. Oh,
no.
Sweets.
What was Sweet's roll?
Oh, jeez.
An actual 20.
Ah!
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Do I do a behavioral roll and I have to?
No, you're gonna succeed, but Sweets is damaging you instead.
Okay.
I'm
fine with
so
that.
sorry.
No. I don't want to lose Michael Yen.
Sweets. What is the damage of Sweets' claws?
So looking here, Sweets
It's a
does
beak
2
attack?
points of damage from a diving attack. Yeah.
So it's going to be 2 points of damage plus 4 from a nat 20.
Oh, jeez. Is this might?
It's might. It's going to be 6 points of damage.
I'm impaired.
Okay, that's
now
gonna
I take from the next pool. Is that
so
right?
now,
Right?
yeah. So
So
now that you're
3,
impaired, basically it means
7.
effort costs 1 extra point.
Right.
It's a little more expensive.
Okay.
Rolls of 17 or higher only ever do plus 1 point of damage, and you cannot use any major or minor effects no matter what you roll. You basically cannot crit anymore. And with the stat pool of down to 0, you essentially are going to drop down to a knee as you are 2 steps away from being debilitated and then dead. So
Can we say I kind of like interposed then?
Yeah.
Like that's how I took the damage.
way I'm picturing it is Sweets went in to impale Michael Yen, and you threw yourself in front of the beak.
Yeah.
Now, Sweets, it sobers you up really quickly when you pull back and see that you've actually injured Clover. It kind of snaps you out of the kill zone instantly. Total chaos as this happens. Imagine a pterosaur clambering across the living room and body tackling somebody to try to impale them with their beak, as the dinosaur basically just goes into the red. Rather, the cousin to the dinosaur goes into the red and tries to kill. Michael Yin screams and throws himself backwards, and then screams again when he sees that beak impale the upper part of your chest next to the spear strike. Pain erupts into your chest, and you feel your air just leave you. From multiple puncture wounds, you drop down to a knee. But Sweets, you see the shadow of Sweets over you. Sweets, you immediately feel like this deadening of the aggression snaps off.
I'm thinking that Sweets is kind of just over Clover, and being overprotective now.
Yeah.
Just
wings over.
Nobody gets close.
Anybody who has seen a pterosaur try to cover and protect its young, either from rainstorms or predators, notice that the behavior is to stretch the wings over and warn it away. And Sweets is letting everyone in the room know that if you come, I don't care who you are, if you come close to her, I am going to kill you. You see the pterosaur's rage as the beak is wide open as it warns everyone away from this ear-shattering screeches. Yen stumbles back and he's looking helplessly as you are currently being covered right now, Clover. Sweets is not going to let anybody near you. Sweets, I will give you this last piece of stimulus. Just a second ago, you and Clover were fleeing from that cave place that you once lived. And now you're not. It's very scary and disorienting.
Like, I almost feel like he would want to take her out of here, but I don't think that that's something that Sweets is big enough to do just yet. So the next best thing is to just claim the area.
Okay.
This is now our cave. If we can't leave, we're taking it.
What is Joe doing while all of this has happened?
So that depends on, did Ozzy ran out into the storm? Is that correct?
Ozzy's outside, yeah.
Okay, so I think Joe is having her moment of like paralysis of none of this makes any sense. I cannot glean any reliable information out of here. Last time I just closed my eyes and walked away, and that I don't think is going to do anything here because people are actually having spears out of their chest, and now, oh my god, there's a pterosaur in here biting people. Panic. And then is kind of, I think, actually does close her eyes for a second and tries to like think. Thinking about the item, thinking about last time things were happening. This is obviously an escalation. And then kind of registers Ozzy having left and kind of scrambles her way up and like trying not to make eye contact with the pterosaur that is very angry and territorial right now. She already is kind of uneasy around dinosaurs to begin with. But this is the worst. So kind of like in his head, like scooting out, and then kind of is going to try to get out the back door and is running after Ozzy and says, Ozzy, Larson effect, and is going to try to come to you and get you to give the bag to her.
You are standing knee deep in snow with Ozzy. The two of you find yourselves surrounded by tall, snow-packed pines. Your skin is freezing, and the two of you are looking at each other.
I think it's you.
And it can't hurt them. Larson effect. Gotta go.
You're the speaker. I thought it was just Dahlia. I think it's you. Last time when you walked away with it, Dahlia's it stopped, and then when I took you away from Dahlia, it didn't stop, but when I took the bag away from you, it did. I think it's you. I think you're the speaker. Can I just hands out? Please.
That's the theory.
Let's do an experiment.
There's a mercury trigger in this if it shakes or becomes uneven. They
Ozzy,
slowly start to hand it over, and at point of contact, high concentration of volatile organic compounds.
Say again?
High concentration of volatile organic compounds as we're surrounded by time pine.
Yeah, I suppose so. We'll see what happens.
Don't get set on fire.
I'll do my
Hands
best.
off. Backing up.
Backing up. And Joe runs. She's gonna book it. She just runs.
Before you get there.
Okay. That's the intention.
The intention, you pull the device out.
Oh, I just take the bag. I just take the whole backpack.
Oh, you're just going to grab the bag from them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pass bag over.
You reach for the bag, and as soon as you seize it, you are not holding a bag. You're holding a data pad. The two of you glance down. You see this data pad with a fractured face. Looks like it's got little like lines and cracks going through it, and a slightly like one of those holographic, like early holographic dimensional projections where if you turn it left and right, it kind of projects outwards. So it's like thin, not hard light, so it doesn't like beam the image in front of you. You're seeing all of this data in front of you, and you see it reads at the top, has project number on it, and it reads SATI site 000, and then a letter that you can't make out. That glows in front of you. And you see what looks like a map, and instantly the two of you see it projecting down into this data pad. The map shows distance traveled, direction that you've moved. Each of you are kind of looking down, and you've noted that each of you has made notes in this map. You recognize your handwriting. It's happening in the same moment. You glance down and meet each other's gaze as you realize you are tracking how far you've come out here in the snow. The desire to just rip this away and run with it has frozen as you're seeing this. Both of you, this is right. You're supposed to be here. Wait, where are you coming from? Something else was happening a second ago. You were in Silvercreek, but how can that be possible? You left Silvercreek months ago.
I think Joe will always go for information. Where she has a map.
Hmm?
Where are we?
You are far north. Far, far north. Well beyond where a lot of plotted courses and civilizations have been sprouted up here. Well beyond the Red Jaw Wilds. You are in the northern part of Laramidia continent. Up here, the winter almost never ends. The only time the snows stop falling is for about 3 months out of the year. And the days can stretch on and on and on. This sun has been on the horizon for the past 3 weeks without setting completely. It's been dark out. You've been dodging fur-covered sauropods that have been hunting some kind of relative of the trikes. Nothing you've seen before. Nothing with big horns. You know you're supposed to be here, but why do you suddenly feel like you're in the wrong place? Each of you has this nagging sensation that you are not actually here. And it's disorienting each of you when at roughly the same moment you feel a cold, icy sensation against the side of your face. Not snow, it's wet. Another one, and then another. Rain.
Pines.
And you staring at each other in the rain suddenly. Outside, ankle deep in mud, as the rain starts to slowly pick up.
Rain, pine, fires, running now, and it's gonna attempt to continue that
You grab the bag.
Where you hold on to it.
You hold on to the bag. Where are you going?
Away. What
You
can
just
I
rush?
see from here? Yeah, I'm just running.
Okay. Any direction in particular?
Away from Dahlia's house, away from Ozzy.
To the gate.
Yeah.
The gate direction. You get about 20 steps when all of a sudden the wind begins to return. And as you're running, I need you to make any kind of athletics check roll you've got here.
Okay.
The difficulty is going to be vicious
Ready.
because of the sheer gusting power of the wind. It is going to start at difficulty 6, so you need an 18 or better.
So 7, right?
7? Oh, right, because this is attached to? Yeah.
Yep.
But it's a water storm.
Oh, that's true. It's water.
This
This
is
is
water.
not
Okay.
this is not related to the fire at all. So this is going to be a 6,
Okay.
yeah.
So 6.
Story.
So yeah, I'm taking a story point.
Use
Thank
them.
you.
Use them. All right, so it's going to drop
Yep.
it down to 5. Thank you very much, Leo Ambermain.
Thank you. Hopefully you saved my butt. This is, you said anything
Her
athletic. I
butt.
have fix my butt. No, I have a skill. You said anything athletic. I have a skill in climbing. It was the one thing that Joe did to get out of. She did like indoor climbing.
You're willing to throw yourself to the ground and try to grab hold of the floor? I'll let you use that.
If that's how bad the wind is,
It's
Sure.
picking up to gale force winds, yes.
yeah, sure. Then yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
you drop to your knees and splatter into the mud. You grab hold as much as you can.
Like sides of
try to-
buildings and like
you're-
the ground. And
You're
yeah.
lowering your body area as much as possible
Mhm.
so you can fight through that wind. Go ahead.
Mhm.
Did you make your roll?
No, I haven't rolled yet. So that's 4, correct?
Mhm.
With climbing. And this is a speed roll or
No, this is a physical.
physical roll. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
I'm gonna spend.
Yep.
I'm gonna spend.
Yep.
for might.
Okay,
Yep. Auto attack.
drop it down to 3 then. Need a
Drop
9
down
or
to
better.
3.
Please roll well. Thank you.
Still pretty rough. That's pretty
Please,
steep.
please,
Let's see.
Please.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Please.
Come on, Joe. 19.
Oh!
Go!
Let's friggin' go!
In the middle of winds that are starting to gust up to about 50 miles an hour, you manage to pull yourself through the mud towards the gate. The wall starts to buffet some of the worst of it, and you find yourself pulling up to the front base entrance where you see the gates, the walls of Silvercreek are literally just their thickness. The strength of these gates is made to withstand charging dinosaurs, and you see them moving back and forth under the fury of this storm. When you glance up, you can see the angry gray clouds now in the early morning light swirling overhead as the rain starts to slash down. And as you pull yourself forward, you see in front of you, blinking some of the rain out of your way, Piper has her knees pulled up to her chest, and you see her eyes are wide and red. She's sobbing. Blood is all over her hands as she's leaning up against it, and she's
Piper, is that right? Yelling over the wind.
She glances up at you and starts mouthing something to you, but you can't hear what she is saying.
Piper, my name is Joe. We met briefly. I need you to try to internalize that it's not real. It has already happened or will happen. But right now, you are at the bottom of the gate of Silvercreek, and it's raining, and you are wet. And I would like to help you, but that's the best I can do for now. And is just going to try to talk what has helped Joe the few times this has now happened is getting some grip on reality, of either closing her eyes and moving, or the water and the pine and remembering what. So she's just going to describe where they are and what's happening, and that you are not there right now. You might be, or you have been, but right now is not that. Just kind of
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
info dumping to
You're trying to get through to her.
Yeah.
She's listening to you, and when you're done speaking, she just says, you hear her starting to shout as it looks like a little bit of hysteria overcoming her for a second, and she holds up her hand to you and says, under the din of the wind, you think you hear her say, I couldn't save her. I couldn't save her. And she opens her hand, and you see in her shaking bloody hand is a small necklace. It looks like it's made out of some kind of bone. It has a little symbol on it. But what strikes you about the necklace is it's the exact same one she's wearing. Identical to the one she's wearing. And she's holding it and staring at it.
I'm going to close her hand over it and then push her hand up to the necklace that's on her chest. You may not have saved her, but that's not today. You can't save her again. There aren't second chances. But you can move forward. And you have, and that's proof. This is proof that you've moved forward. Maybe not past it, but you're forward. You're past it. In time, I suppose. Maybe not emotionally, but it's raining and you're in Silvercreek. Can you hear me?
It's raining. It's raining and I'm in Silvercreek. It wasn't raining that day.
No.
I'm raining and it's...
And pressing her fist harder against the charm.
She reaches down and touches the necklace at her chest and... What the fuck? And she opens her hand and the necklace is still there. What?
Time terror. Time terror.
Oh my God. Never. She doesn't finish the sentence. She just clutches the necklace. Happened again?
No, it already happened. It happened once. And that's all.
Holy shit. She exhales and says, the rain continues to pick up and she finally goes, what are you doing outside? You need to get in. You need to get inside.
I actually think I need to keep walking forward, which is going to sound crazy and an amount of trust that you're going to need to put in me for a second as a stranger who you met 24 hours ago, barely.
Speak in smaller sentences, she screams at you through the rain. What do you need?
Larson effect, microphone feedback, time that way. She does not.
She stares at you in total just bewilderment. While all of this is happening, back inside, Yen is trying to get close and says, Sweets, I need to help her, okay? I need to... Backs away and says, Clover, I'm sorry, I can't. I can't.
Yeah, I think Clover is kind of sinking more and more, probably leaning onto Sweets' belly at this point, just bleeding from the shoulder, trying to get a just not slip into unconsciousness. I will try to calm Sweets so that she'll open up and let someone in. So, yeah, I guess I'll put my arm up on his belly and just say, "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay."
Your voice seems gentle to you in your own ears. And that sleep that you were experiencing before all the madness broke out takes you again.
I pass out.
As the world just goes dark. Outside, Ozzy, glancing to your right, you see indoors the frozen form of Zach suddenly drop to the floor, which startles Sweets. The chaos that's going on inside, and you turn back just in time to see the front gates of Silvercreek opening. And against all survival instinct, you watch as Joe, by herself, charges out into the storm. And that is where we are going to leave off tonight's game.
We a mess.
Oh my god!
I love that.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Bad ideas in a trench coat. Let's go. How many can we stack?
You stack enough bad ideas on top of each other, they become a Dinosuchus.
Yeah. Or a time
1 plus
terror
1
in
plus
Middle
1 plus
Hurricane.
1 eventually equals Dinosuchus.
That's true. That's just math.
That is going to bring us to a close tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for Chapter 4 of Legacy of Silvercreek. We're back next Monday, and until then, we'll see you 66 million years from now.